Welcome back
Welcome back.
to a Disney Channel movie. Let's
Woo!
watch a Disney
Yes.
Channel movie. You remember
Um,
that intro? That was iconic.
I know. I love Disney Channel during the Halloween time. Oh,
Mhm.
the best. Like,
Top tier. Top
yes.
tier. Like
And I
I
love
keep seeing. Yeah.
when when they're about to play a Disney movie like in the olden days and it was like the person that would be jumping in the air
Mhm.
over like the film.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah. That
that's
was
how you
the.
know it's going to be a bomb, like, good
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah, that was the theme. They would play that song when that whole animation would play with the film strip and everything. They
Yes.
would play that song. Let's watch a Disney Channel movie.
Yes. Or like when it was the High School Musical one, or like High School Musical 2, and they'd have like the actors, and I'm like, ah, it's gonna be so good. But now that it's Halloween,
It's spoopy time.
it's spoopy time,
It's spooky season.
and I gotta rewatch so many of these
Mhm.
because
We had to
they're
have a
just
little
so
nostalgia
good.
trip.
Yeah, and the one I always go back to first is the
Mhm.
OG Halloween Town.
Let's go.
It's by
Let's
far my
go.
favorite Halloween one.
Yeah,
Like
it is
who?
really good.
It's so good.
I'm debating on if it's my favorite out of the couple that we're gonna be mentioning today, but it's definitely top tier
Yeah.
Disney Halloween.
It just that the nostalgia hits me so hard whenever I watch that.
I know. I
It's
know.
so good.
Yeah, and it's definitely one that I have to revisit at least once a year because these
Yes.
Disney Channel movies are so easy to watch because they're all. I didn't realize. I guess when you're younger, you watch them. It doesn't seem like there's scientific facts that prove that when you're younger, time kind of moves a little slower.
Yeah.
So that's why these movies are so short because it seems longer to kids when they're like watching
Yeah.
it. But when you get older, you don't realize like these movies are like the longest one out of the four that we're going to be discussing today is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And that's the longest one. So they're
Yes.
like all very short movies.
Yes. And so
But
IMDb is 6.5 out of 10, which is trash rating.
incorrect. What does Rotten
Incorrect.
Tomatoes
It
say?
deserves at least a 9. Um Rotten Tomatoes is 83%. So
All
that's
right.
pretty good.
All right.
And then the
General, like
description.
more closer.
Listen to this description. Like the first sentence is completely off. Marnie and
Uh-huh.
her kids.
Huh?
Okay. Excuse me.
Who
That's
wrote
not
that?
normal.
Ma'am. She's a
I think
child.
Marnie has some
This is
explaining
this
to
is
do.
Marnie's 13th Halloween. What do you mean?
So I would hope not. So Marnie and her siblings get a
Uh-huh.
big shock when they follow their grandma home to Halloween Town and find out that they come from a family of witches. The town is
Uh-huh.
the only place where supernatural beings can lead a normal life. But trouble is looming. On her 13th birthday, Marnie not only finds she's a witch, but that her and her family are involved in a fight against the evil that is threatening to take over the world. That's pretty accurate. Well, besides the fact that it said Marnie and her kids. Um,
Did they mean to say like maybe kid brother? Which wouldn't even make that much sense because she's only
both,
13, so it's
yeah.
not like
And he's older than
I don't
she
know.
is.
The brother's
Interesting.
older?
I think so, right? Or no, maybe
What?
she's
No, I thought
older.
no, no, no. I thought Marnie was the oldest, and
Oh,
then
maybe.
the brother's pretty close in age because I'm pretty sure in the second one when they have like the Halloween party, they're both
They're
like
both in high school.
in high school.
Well, together, yeah.
Yeah, or like older because are they even in high school? Because the third one is Halloween Town High because they're
They're
both in high school then.
yeah. So I think they're probably
Interesting.
still in grade school or like
Marnie and her
late.
kids.
Yeah, Marnie and her kids. Okay. And
Marnie and her kids.
we have one of the best lineups, I feel like, in this
Mhm.
film because you have Debbie Reynolds,
Queen.
icon.
Queen.
I love her. Rest in
Icon.
peace,
I don't
man.
know.
Oof.
Yeah, I know. Oh my
First of
god,
all,
I forgot that
not
she
only is
passed
she just
away. Oh my
as
god.
Aggie, their grandmother. She's just amazing. But in real life, uh,
Mhm.
her daughter is Carrie Fisher.
Yes.
So like,
She
come
gave
on
us she
now.
gave us Princess. Not only is she an icon in her own right, she also gave us Princess Leia. Are you
Yes.
kidding me?
And then Carrie Fisher gave us Billy Lord. So like, their whole
Right.
line of females in that family are amazing.
That's an iconic
Yes.
bloodline. Honestly,
Yes.
come on. Like,
Billy Lord's
but
amazing. I love Billy Lord too.
I know, I know. Oh my god, icon of Scream
Yes.
Queens, AHS. She was in a little bit of Star Wars as well, kind of like
Yes.
in the background.
Yeah.
But I just love her personality too, and you can just see like she has like Carrie's like sense of
Yes.
humor. Like Carrie lives, this family line lives on through her, just through like her personality.
Yep.
I don't know I don't think she's doing any projects right now, but she was really good in Booksmart as
Oh,
well.
yes.
She was insanely funny
So
in
funny.
Booksmart. She was probably, like, the standout comic
Yep.
relief in Booksmart, honestly. But, yeah, Debbie Reynolds. This movie was my introduction to Debbie Reynolds,
Yes.
and then in more, like, recent years, I would say within the past, like, 4 or 5 years, I had started watching, like, her old, I don't know if you ever saw Singing in the Rain. If
Yes.
not, I highly recommend it. It's
It's
probably one of
been
my
so
favorite
long, but I
musicals.
have seen it in the past.
She's so good. That's mostly I think that's what she's known for,
Yeah.
like, in her younger years, that and then excuse me, there's this other movie that she's in called, I think she almost won an Oscar for it, it's called The Unsinkable Molly Brown. It's also like a
Oh, yeah.
musical. Yeah, but Debbie Reynolds, icon.
Love
But
her.
this movie was my introduction to her, which is wild to
Yes.
think about.
And then it says their mom, Gwen Piper, is widowed, and she refuses to let three of her kids go out and celebrate Halloween every year. And then their grandma, Aggie, shows up for her annual Halloween visit, and then she reads them a story about Halloween Town, a mystical place, witches, vampires, like everything. And then Sophie points Sophie's the younger sister, and she points out a drawing of a witch that looks like Marnie. And apparently on the 13th birthday is like a big deal for the witches because it's like, I guess, when you would start gaining your powers.
Mhm.
Um, so this Halloween is her 13th Halloween, so it's the big deal, and she's trying to ease Marnie's way into knowing that she's a witch, but obviously Gwen does not like the fact that she's a witch because Gwen's the witch herself.
Yes. 'Cause that's where
Yes,
the magic is on the, maternal side of the family.
yes,
Because
yes.
we don't ever see Marnie's dad, but the her mom keeps saying, "Your dad's a human, so that's what we're gonna be human."
Yeah, you married not into the mystical family, and so
Mhm. The mystical family,
I
like
guess so. Yeah. Well, it kind of reminds me of Wizards of Waverly Place, where
Mhm.
Jerry loves, I forget her name, but loves their mom so much that he's willing to give up his powers and
Right.
raise like a normal life
Oh,
for
that's right,
them.
the mom is human and
The mom's
he's got
human,
the
she
magical
yeah,
powers. Okay.
and so he, knowing that he loves her, he
Mhm.
you can't marry outside of
Right.
your power realm or whatever you want to call it. So he chooses to lose his powers so he can be with the love of his life. So I'm assuming Gwen is kind of the same way, where
Mhm.
it's like, I'm going to marry you and like I'm this way, but our kids don't have to be that way. So she's trying to normalize her kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
But man, if I were Gwen, I'd probably live in Halloween Town. Well, I say that, but maybe I wouldn't. But like seeing Halloween Town and seeing, I would love to live there.
I love it too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a version of it in, Oregon that you can
Yes.
go
Yeah, it
to.
is. I guess that's
I
where they
don't.
filmed it. It's in Portland.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, and I don't know if it's there. I mean, I doubt they probably moved that pumpkin statue. They probably just keep it there, but I don't know how they keep it all year round. I know in Halloween this
They
year,
yeah.
especially because it's been I want to say there was an anniversary. I want to say it was 25 years or 20 years or something from when the movie premiered. So they had some type of like special event for it there this year.
Yeah, it's
So I
been
know there was a lot
26
of like,
years. Yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah. So
premiered
this year
in
they had like a bunch of
1998,
festivities.
so that's that's crazy.
We were like four.
Yes. But so when
Oh man.
they're at the house with the
Uh huh.
grandmom, and obviously the mom and the grandmom have a fight because she doesn't want her kids to know that they have these magical powers. And then Aggie leaves to go home on the magic bus that takes her back to Halloween Town. And then Marnie
Not to be confused with the
with the
magic
magic
school
school
bus.
bus. Yes,
This
yes.
is a different magic bus, and also not to be confused with the bus that goes to Sky High. This is a different.
Yes. Two totally different buses. I honestly also would want to go to Sky High. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking about that movie one day.
Uh huh.
Um,
We can do another. That'll be another.
oh, it's so that movie top tier too.
Uh
But
huh.
she goes on the bus, and I don't understand how they got on the bus without their grandmom knowing.
Mhm.
Like you have,
I know.
and so it's just Marnie and her brother. Um, they get on the bus together, and
Mhm.
they think it's just the two of them. And so
Yeah.
Marnie and Dylan show up, and then he's like, "We gotta go home." Like Sophie's there, and then their younger sister's like, "I'm right here." Like I love
Yeah.
how she just pops up and she's just right there.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like really like slick though with like blending into
Yes,
places, and like she has like an instinct. Like she's just like, I don't know. She always
yes,
has that thing where she's like at the door and she's like, somebody's coming. Like I don't know. I feel like she
yeah.
just.
She's maybe that's part of her powers,
Yeah.
just kind of understanding, having
She's
that
the
sixth sense.
introvert witch.
Yeah,
She's the introvert witch for sure.
yeah. And I love so let's see what else. Yeah. So obviously they get there, they never want to leave. And
Mhm.
then Aggie is telling them that something's going wrong in Halloween Town.
Yep.
So she goes to talk to the mayor, Calabar, uh,
That bitch.
that bitch. Yeah.
That bitch.
Like, I've never,
So conniving, so it's wild
uh,
when you watch it for the first time
yes,
and you don't know the way he's
yeah,
gonna end up, but then when you know obviously spoilers for all of these movies that we're talking about, so
yeah,
if you haven't seen them and you don't want to be
yes,
spoiled, maybe watch them and
yes,
then come back. But spoilers for basically a bunch of movies that came out in the early 2000s,
yes,
but when you watch it back again and you know what Calabar's plan is going forward,
yes.
ooh, he's such a conniving little sneak. Ooh.
Oh, when I was watching it, the entire time I was yelling because it's like I
Mhm.
know, oh, like
Mhm.
it gets me
The scene
the
where he like
grinds.
brings the rose back to life to try to like
Hmm.
make the mom swoon. I was
Yeah.
like,
So the
ooh, you.
mom realized that her kids are gone, and she knows
Mhm.
where they go. So she gets a portal and she comes to Halloween Town. And
Right.
the mayor, Calabar, used to have a crush on Gwen, but obviously she chose to live her life with a mortal.
Mhm.
And he obviously was not okay with that.
Mhm.
So this is like his revenge
Yeah.
by
But they don't call the first movie. They call the second movie Calabar's
Calabar's
Revenge.
revenge because it's his son coming back to like
Yeah.
do everything. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, he makes a rose come back to life, and he's trying to woo Gwen, and she's still not accepting his advances. And he still tries.
Yeah.
Every single chance he gets, he's still like talking to her. Like she said no.
Mhm.
Leave her alone.
Take
She
no.
does take no for an answer and leave. Like
It's like
I'm
that TikTok audio, that girl, it's like, "Leave her alone." It's
leave her alone. Yes, and I can't. And then so he concocts a plan, and then he freezes Gwen and Aggie in the movie theater,
Mhm.
and he like basically like not he doesn't kill them, but he just
Yeah,
like
it's a spell, like,
a
well,
spell. Yeah.
as it's wild, I love how the Aggie was able to explain it, she's like, "It's just the spell that's freezing us, go!"
Yes.
Like,
As she's,
I guess
like,
to not
getting
make
frozen.
it worry, as she's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
just so that
it's a
they can,
spell.
like, the
Yeah.
it basically almost looks like their souls are, like, gone because 'cause they're just,
Yes.
like,
They're just
their
sitting
bodies
there.
are still there
Yep.
somehow,
And so
but
when they go to the movie theater, Aggie
mhm,
realizes there's a lot of other Halloween Town citizens that are there that she would see around the neighborhood acting completely different from how she knows them. That's how she
mhm,
knows things are off because she's like, I just spoke with like Lisa or whatever, and she was fine this morning, but and then I saw her this afternoon and she was completely different. And
mhm.
Calabar would be like, oh, like what do you mean? Oh,
Yeah, like, just
still
gaslighting
casual
the
about
entire
it, and she's
community
like,
of
you're the
Halloween.
mayor, like when I'm telling you, like something's wrong, and he's like, oh, don't worry about it, like
I'll look in he's like, "I'll look
I'll
into
look
it."
into it, like this is too dangerous
What
for
a guy.
you. Don't worry
What a
about
guy.
it.
What a guy.
What a guy. You know, he's the
Yeah.
mayor. He's trying to get
And
with somebody that doesn't want to be with him. What a great person to run your city.
I will say when there's certain things in these movies that I would say probably this and one other movie that have, like, genuinely scary things in them.
Yeah.
His form in the movie theater,
Oh,
mm,
yep,
to this
yep.
day, I still get I'm scared of it less, obviously, but when I was younger, oh my god,
Ooh,
that
it's
scared
and
the shit out of me.
for being made in the 90s, like that was good. Like that was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
scary.
Well, because everything was practical effects, that's why everything looked so good. I mean, look about if you look at, like, early 2000s movies, like, obviously these aren't, like, horror movies, but if you look at the makeup, like, that Jim Carrey had for, like, The Grinch, or, like,
Mhm.
Mike Myers for The Cat in the Hat, everything was all practical, and even when you think of, like,
Yeah.
older, like, horror movies and stuff, like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Evil Dead franchise, if not, you should, but they're all, like it's all, like, practical effects and, like, making things out of,
Yeah.
like, it might look, like, ridiculous to a certain extent, but everything looked really
Yeah.
real and scary because it was all, like, practical.
Yep. And then
Not all this CGI like
yes.
these days.
And so obviously like Aggie goes to the movie theater and gets frozen in
Mhm.
time. And then Gwen and her children see Aggie go to the movie theater, so they go. And then Gwen, their mom gets frozen, so it's up to
Yep.
like the kids to save the day.
Mhm.
So they have to go back to their grandmom's house, and they're trying to like remember the spell that Aggie was doing that was gonna like fix all their problems. And
Yep.
then they finally figure out the spell that goes into like the little, I think they call it like a talisman, but it's just like a little metal thing with like a, what would you call?
I mean, it kinda almost looks like a when people say they have, like, a magic like a staff,
A staff.
almost is
Yeah.
kinda what it looks like.
Yeah.
So it's just like a long stick and then it has some type of, like, appendage, like, top o part
Yes.
that almost looks like it's, like, glass. Almost like the top of it almost looks like a doorknob, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like
It's like
shiny, kind of like a
those,
pearl
like, old
maybe.
yeah, yeah,
And it
that's
lights
probably
up once they figure out what the spell is. But in
Mhm.
order to actually like save Halloween Town, they have to go back to like the town square where the
And
pumpkin is.
Thank
Yeah.
God for Queen Sophie,
Yes.
because if Sophie didn't remember that spell, Marnie didn't remember
Oh,
it. She was
Marnie
like,
was
"Better."
trying. She was trying her best,
I
but
was
she did
cracking
not.
up, but she's like, "Man, these the 3 kids in this movie, though, they give such great
Yes.
performances." That's another thing about these DCOMs of why they hold up so well, is because they straight up just had, like, good acting from, like, not just the adults, but the child actors as well. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, they're just, like it's, like, funny, genuinely good performances, like, I was cracking up, but she was like, "Better get there, better hurry, better get going before there's no beds." I was like, "Girl, that's
Yes.
not."
And I love when they first get to their grandmom's house
Mhm.
and it looks locked. And so
Yeah.
Marnie's trying to like open it and she's like doing
Uh-huh.
some spell and it's not working. And then Dylan's obviously yelling at her, like, you're a witch.
Yeah.
Like, you can't open this. And then she says some spell again and it
Mhm.
opens. And then Dylan's like, how'd you do that? And she's like, I don't know. I was just saying. And then Sophie's like, I just pushed it. But
Sophie's so funny.
Sophie's,
She's
I,
funny.
yeah. It's so
I think
funny.
I wonder. I gotta rewatch the second one because I don't remember the energy of what like how she is in the
Yeah.
second one too. But I know obviously their powers just get stronger, and later on we find out that even Dylan's got some magic.
Yes.
And I love when the sparks come out of his fingers, and he's like, "No, I'm supposed to be normal.
Normal. And it's like, oh, come
I'm
on.
the normal one."
Yes. And
But this them having to going back to them having to figure out the spell after they do know what the spell is. Well, before that, they have to get their ingredients, which is my favorite part of the
yes.
entire
Oh, yeah.
It's
So
so good.
they
It's so
know
good.
the ingredients and the one scene, well, I don't know. I love the part where they have to go get like the ghost sweat,
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's
but
the 3
yeah,
main things they go into town for are the hair of a werewolf, the sweat of a ghost, and the fang of a vampire. So
yes,
naturally, they have to go to a gym for the ghost sweat,
yes,
hairdresser, and conveniently, the hairdresser happens to be the werewolf.
yes. Wow. Well, would you look at that?
Yeah, and then no, I just love it though because it's like perfect, like,
Perfectly,
and
like,
then
yes, yeah,
convenience for the plot, but it's like you can't blame these movies
yeah,
because they're that's what makes them like they're corny, but they're like funny, and it's
yes.
just good. It's just chef's
And I
kiss,
love, so
and
yeah,
then they happen to find the vampire. Thank God there was a vampire that had a dentist appointment that day.
I
You
know,
know,
right? Wow.
they've
But I
been like, "Oh,
love,
sorry." They just go to the dentist. It's like, "You got any vampires on the?"
yeah.
They're like, "No, not today." And be like, "Darn it."
And I'll try the other dentist.
I'm trying- They
But
just
I
start
love
going.
like they
And there was no Google back then. I don't think they
no.
didn't have like phones, so they would just keep like having to go.
Yes. And I love so they get to the hairdresser and
Uh huh.
I don't know, they cut his
Hairdresser's
hair.
the first one. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure the
they go to the
hairdresser's the first
hairdresser
one.
first. And they
Yeah.
like shave a huge chunk of hair, which they probably didn't need that much, but they literally took like a razor and just shaved a massive chunk off his head. And he just starts howling cuz like as if it hurt. He's like, "Ooh." And then he like turns around and he's like, like he's all shocked because half his hair
Uh
is
huh.
missing, but he's like, oh, I can make this work. But he's like
He's like,
clearly
this
a
could be
gay
my
man.
new look.
I feel like he was gay. No, I mean the
The
shirt.
shirt was a
It
little.
was like a little unbuttoned,
Yeah.
um, and long sleeves. You know.
He's either like, well, because of the shirt and the hairstyle, he's either gay or like really stuck in the 70s. Like I can't.
Yes, he's either gay or just really
Maybe
stuck in the 70s. Yes,
like because the shirt had like he was given like almost like a Saturday Night Fever type vibe.
yes,
Like
yeah,
honestly. But I love how in the beginning of that scene she's like, "Yeah, I really need a job." Like she just starts
yes.
trying. She's like, "I can sweep up the hair, or I can book an appointment." It's like,
And
he's like,
and
"No, I don't think
I don't think so. And then
you're
she like, I'm gonna shave the back
you're
of
a
your head.
kid." Like,
Yeah. And then the second place they go to was which was also funny, but they went to the
mhm,
gym,
yeah,
and conveniently, the gym has, like, a steaming like, a sauna room.
yeah,
Convenient. Um,
uh huh,
and so you take this big ghost, like, this I
yes,
guess, like, is plus size the correct word, but, like, this
yes,
plus-sized ghost, and he's sitting
yes,
in this little chamber that's
uh huh,
supposed to just get, like, the steam going.
right,
And then somehow they were able to turn up the steam all the way
mhm,
without
mhm,
him complaining.
yeah.
Like, "What are you doing? Don't touch," and they just were somehow able
Right,
to
he
turn up.
he he just got in that thing and then
Yeah,
closed his eyes, and then he saw there was kids around him, and he was like, "Well," he's like, "Alright." Like,
this is
he
awkward.
didn't question
And then they were like,
he didn't
"Oh, can you"
question it.
yeah, and then so like, "Can you distract him?" So, of course, Dylan
Mhm.
being like the nerd, just telling him all these facts, and he's like,
"Did you
"Oh, did
know
you
that," like,
know?" And the ghost is like, "No, I didn't." And then you just have
he's like
so this is why I love Sophie because
he
as
says the second fact, and he's like, "You don't say."
you know, it's but I love, like, as he's saying these facts and the ghost is just kinda like, "Yeah, whatever, sure, go." You just have Sophie with, like, a little, again,
He's
where did
like,
she
"I
get it
got
from?
this."
I don't know, but she had, like, a little white sheet, and she's walking behind Dylan as he's, like, telling these fun facts, and she's like, "Oh," and she's, like, pretending to be,
Ooh.
"Ooh," and he's like, "Oh, real funny, kid," and she's
Like,
like, "Ooh," and she keeps going, and I'm like, "Okay." Like, this is
Yeah,
why
and
Sophie's my
you know what I thought about that too? She was thinking of her grandmom because what did the grandmom teach them earlier when she was there? She was like telling them how to moan like a ghost. She's like, "It's more like a moaning
Oh,
sound, like a
yes.
woo." And I'm like,
Yes,
"Wait a
yes,
minute." I
yep.
made that connection when I watched this. I'm like, "Oh, Sophie was like, wait, I'm gonna do what grandmom
Yeah.
told
Grandma told me,
me."
like, this is yeah, this is how it
This is
is.
what a ghost sounds like.
Yep.
But then I love when he goes, "Hey, I don't appreciate the stereotype of
I
kid."
know. It's so
I
funny.
was like, that was great writing that
And
they
then,
put that.
conveniently, as the sweat is about to drop from his face,
Mhm.
there's a little tiny jar that they can just casually put the sweat in.
Yeah. I'm guessing they maybe, Aggie must have had those, like, things in her house. That's what I'm gonna say
Oh,
is
maybe
where
they
they
were
got it
bringing it
from.
with them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm guessing whatever type of, like, weird she probably maybe she had the sheet, they just grabbed, like, a random sheet from
Yeah.
her, like,
And so, then the
and then
3rd place,
3rd and final.
which is the funniest to me, but it's the dentist office, because, of
Uh-huh.
course, they need to get a vampire fang. And not just a
Yes.
vampire tooth, like, it has to be that
It has
specific
to be the
tooth, like
Fang.
the fang.
Uh-huh.
How and they don't show it, but how they bypassed the front desk, got a face mask and, like, scrubs on,
Yeah.
act like the assistant of the dentist, who was like a goblin or whatever.
I wonder if there's, like, deleted scenes of
Oh,
this somewhere.
I would love, or like a behind the scenes just to see it.
Yeah, cause I know if they were at the front desk, it would definitely give, like, the same vibes of, like, the scene do you remember Little Rascals?
Yes.
When they have the scene when they're, like, in the trench coat, like, trying to convince them
Yes,
that
that
they're
is
an adult?
this equivalent. Yeah.
It's definitely gonna be some type of thing like that, like, they're like, "Yeah, we're from the Dental Society of something
Yes.
something, and we're here to check."
Yes. And then,
Yeah.
I love when it's clearly the vampire and the dentist is like, "Oh, we're gonna have to remove this fang," and she was like, "Is it gonna hurt?" And he's like, "Nah."
Nah.
And, like, no anesthesia,
I
no
don't even know
nothing.
I don't even know what type of creature you would call the dentist.
Ah,
There's a
I
lot of creatures in Halloween Town where they just kind of look like they're just kind of like
maybe
bloated,
like an
weird
ogre.
monsters. Maybe could be
Yeah,
like an
maybe
ogre.
yeah, maybe more like an ogre or like a goblin type.
Yeah,
But I love how he's like, "Yeah, you won't feel a thing," and he just takes the plier and rips out the fang. She's like, "Oh," and then she smiles, and you know how, and I've never done this, but like for Halloween, when you wanna like maybe you're a hillbilly or something, and you have like no teeth, so you like put a little black on your teeth to like
right, right.
signify that like, oh, I don't have two front teeth, but
Uh
it's
huh.
obviously fake. Like you can tell it's fake where the
Yeah.
fang is missing, and it's so funny because it's like
Uh huh.
very 90s. But he
Yeah.
pulls it out, and she's
And I
like,
think
"Oh,
they also
that
tried to
thinner."
make it that it was like they're trying to make it that it was like a real deteriorated tooth.
Yes,
Like,
yes, and the tooth looked like really bad. And
yeah,
then after he pulls it out, she's like, "Ah, that didn't hurt at all," and she's like struggling to talk.
yeah.
And you're like,
But I love how they also gave her, like, the little bit of the, like, Dracula vampire
"Yes,
voice.
yes."
She's
She's
like,
got the
"Doc!"
little vampire accent going
I
on.
love it. She goes, "Doc, that didn't hurt at all."
Yes, yes. It's so that was the
Like, these
perfect.
random side characters in this
Yes.
movie, like, just popped off for no reason.
And I
Like,
love
imagine
another side
auditioning being like,
character.
"I'm in Halloween Town. What are you? I'm the werewolf hairdresser that gets, like, 5
Yes.
minutes of screen time but,
Yeah,
like,
I'm the
kills it."
vampire that gets my fang pulled. Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
I
That
also love the scene where they're picking out which broom they want. And the guy
Mhm.
selling the brooms is clearly supposed to be Elvis.
Yeah.
So he's like a skeleton Elvis, and he has
Uh-huh.
like the hair and the Elvis sunglasses. I'm like, even him as a character, I was dying.
Yeah.
He was so it's
And
so good.
you know who's one of my personal favorite characters? A certain cab driver that's a skeleton.
Benny, we love him.
I love Benny. I love Benny.
It's
We don't like him when he gets possessed, but
oh no,
that's
that
Calabar
also
being evil.
scared me so much.
Yeah, when he just like pulls Dylan by his collar, like
Yes,
but it is kind of funny when he keeps like rushing them and he's like, "Come on, get in. I gotta
yes, yep,
go." I'm like, that's not him. Something's wrong.
yes. And but I do love in that scene because when Benny changes and he's like evil and he's trying to rush him to get in the car, and Sophie's like, that's not him. And they're like, no. And Sophie's like,
That's the bad thing.
it's the bad thing. And then
She talks in very
she
short
randomly just
sentences.
walks over to the dog and is like, there's a bone, fetch.
Go fetch
Uh,
the bone.
and then evil Benny drives away. But
Evil
Benny's
Benny.
probably my favorite.
Yeah.
He's just a lovable guy.
Hmm. And then I love at the end when the bus is like riding away and then they're all just waving. And then if
Yes.
you listen closely, like Benny's just going, bye, goodbye, have a
Yes.
good time,
Yes.
goodbye.
And then so
Oh
obviously
man.
they get all the stuff to make their potion,
Yeah.
and then they fill the talisman and it works and it turns on, so they now have to go back to uh the town square where the pumpkin is, and that's where you're supposed to put it. And then as she's like climbing the pumpkin, that's when Calabar comes out,
Mhm.
and like that's the first time you realize like he is the bad guy.
Yeah. He
As a
is the bad
kid,
thing.
that was shocking.
Yeah.
Like now you can kind of see based on like when you go back and look at the context clues, like you can tell. But as a kid, ooh, I was shocked.
What a reveal.
That was, yeah.
What a
And then
reveal.
of course he like turns evil and he's like trying to stop Marnie, so he's like throwing, I guess like lightning at her or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So he's like trying to throw spells at her to freeze her. And then of course, always has to end well. But as she's like about to pass out, she drops the talisman inside the pumpkin.
Yeah.
And then it unfreezes everybody. And then he gets weakened. And then they reunite with their mom and grandma. And they cast a spell on him. And then, of course, Dylan doesn't think he has any powers. And he hates
Yeah.
Halloween. So he wasn't like a part of it.
Uh-huh.
And then it wasn't working without him. And then,
And then Marnie saw him getting because he started getting mad.
yeah,
That was what happened because before he had been kind of just like, a little bit complacent or like, whatever,
yeah,
this is weird. Like everybody's weird. Why can't
yeah.
we be normal? And then when he started getting mad, like, oh, you're messing with my family.
Well,
Then that's when the
it
magic
didn't
came out.
occur to you to fight back when he almost killed Marnie on top of the
Yeah,
pumpkin? That wasn't a thing in your brain to say, "Hey, I should be fighting."
I don't know. I guess
But
it just had to like kick in. I guess I
yeah,
don't know.
and then he did join in, and they saved the day, of course.
Yeah. The power of all the Cromwells, and what a perfect whoever thought of naming the witch Cromwell? That's, like, the
Yes, that
perfect
I
name
don't know
for a
why, but
witch.
it's the perfect name.
The
Like it's
Cromwell witches.
and
Like,
I never knew this, but Wikipedia says that Aggie's name is Splendora Agatha Cromwell.
oh, wow. Huh,
Splendora. And then Gwen's name is Gwendolyn, which would make sense.
Gwendolyn.
But Splendora Agatha Cromwell. What a name. That's a very old lady, like, witch name.
Mhm.
But that, to me, is probably one of the first ones that I've seen.
Yes. But
I think it yeah, yeah.
speaking of first,
Oh,
I mean, we
yeah.
have out of the 4 that we're discussing, we have, um, a film that is both the first DCOM
Yep,
and the first Halloween DCOM in one.
yep.
And
Yeah.
that is none other than 1997's. By the way, what year was Halloween Town?
98.
Just
So it
looking.
was right
Okay.
after it.
So this was the year before. So we have now 1997's Under Wraps.
I and because I was watching it again yesterday.
Uh-huh.
This one got me too. This was funny.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know
Of
if
the
it meant to be
4, I
funny,
think it
but
definitely right. Of the 4 though, I think it's got the best jokes,
yes.
I would say. Yeah. So this movie is it's what are the 3 kids' names? It's Marshall,
Amy
Gilbert,
and
and
Amy. Yeah.
Amy. And Marshall is let me get the actual like synopsis, but Marshall and Gilbert are pretty much opposites. Like Marshall is he loves Halloween. He's like a horror freak. He's got like all types of like Halloween stuff in his room. He's like a Halloween enthusiast. Meanwhile, Gilbert could not be more of the opposite. He's a scaredy cat. Runs the first scene in the movie is him running out of a horror movie,
Yep.
and then they have. So let me get three. I'll just read the Google synopsis for
Okay.
now, and then we'll go from there. Three 12-year-old children, Amy, Marshall, and Gilbert, encounter a mummy which has been undiscovered in 3,000 years. The grammar of this Google
I
thing is not
know. I don't know who writes it or what, but
encounter a mummy which has been undiscovered in 3,000 years. I'm pretty
sure.
sure you had to word that sentence differently,
Yep.
but they accidentally revive him, but he must be returned to his resting place by midnight on Halloween, or he will never find his long lost love. So they have a creepy neighbor that lives in town named Mr. Kubat, which I like
Which I
laughed
get.
out loud when they said that name. I was like,
Kubat.
Kubat. I was like,
Yep.
they they have a mysterious neighbor that's got this old kind of like spooky looking house,
Yep.
and we're introduced to Mr. Kubat after Marshall and Gilbert. The whole opening is they go to see a horror movie. Gilbert runs out, he gets really scared, and then they're walking home, and Marshall goes to Gilbert, "Oh, you deliver Mr. Kubat's newspapers, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, does he pay? When was the last time you got paid by him? Because I guess that was the whole thing of that they would pay you monthly
Yeah.
if you deliver their papers." So he's like, "Well, I haven't gotten money from him yet." And he's like, "How long have you been delivering his papers?" And he goes, "Well, 2 years." He goes, he hasn't given you money in 2 years." So then they take it upon themselves to like try to get Marshall wants to give Gilbert his money, so he goes up to the porch of the house and they try to talk to this creepy looking neighbor. Lo and behold, he's fucking weird and opens the door and has just like a dog chained on a leash and
Yes.
just lets the dog on them instead of just giving him his money, which I'm like, how expensive could the newspapers have been?
Yeah.
Is my question. But like the next week when they go back into school, they find out this is where we first meet Amy, which I notice is a dynamic a lot in these like horror movies where it's like younger kids. It's always two boys and a girl,
Yes.
a la
Yep.
Monster House. If you remember that movie, it's giving
Oh,
kind of like
yeah.
yeah, but another classic. But we're talking about DCOMs today. But anyway, so they say Amy goes, "Oh, Miss, do you have about Mr. Kubat?" And they were like, "What? Oh, he died." They
Like
found
a
him
week
in his
ago. Yeah.
kitchen. He was making pancakes and he had a heart attack and died. And they were like, "We just talked to him Saturday night." And then they were
Yeah.
like, "But apparently he's got some weird stuff in his basement." So then
Yeah.
they take it upon themselves to, I guess it's like the following night or something. They go out after dark. They sneak into his basement. Well, more accurately, they they put Gilbert down the little like window of his basement to like look around and see if they see anything creepy. Lo and behold, he sees a coffin. Gilbert sees a coffin in Mr. Kubat's basement, and it's open a little bit, and there's a hand sticking out of it. Naturally, he freaks the fuck out, and he leaves his glasses there. So then it makes them have to go back into the basement the following day to, like see like what's going on and see what that was. So then the following day they sneak back into the basement. And it's funny because the girl's mom happens to be selling the house that the Mr. Kubat lived in. Ooh, bless you. Did you sneeze?
Just having a coughing fit,
Okay.
laryngitis. It's fun.
Laryngitis be like? No, I'm sorry.
Laryngitis. Can't speak.
Laryngitis be like? Oh
It's,
man. That's just how good these DComs are. They leave you speechless.
yeah, I can't breathe. Wow.
I can't breathe.
It's worse when you lay down for some reason. I don't know why. Like maybe it's just the way your body is. But when I was
Yeah.
laying down, it took me like an hour to go to bed because I just kept coughing on and off. I was like, okay,
Oh lord.
great.
Well, I hope you feel better. Get yourself some water
I'm
if you
drinking.
can.
I'm trying.
Good. Good.
But yes, because in every decon movie or just
Uh
any
huh.
like old school movie,
Uh huh.
it just happens like it just falls in place. Everything falls into place. So her
Yeah.
mom just
Oh, it's
happens to
got
be
it.
the realtor selling his house.
Right. So she's like, "Oh, we gotta go back in the basement because you have to get your glasses." And then I love his reasoning. Gilbert Tree's like, "No, actually, I'm fine. I can see without them."
I know
He's like, "I'm
me.
fine."
Honestly, I'm Gilbert. I feel like
I'd be like, "I'll just go to like Lens Crafters tomorrow." Like it's
yeah.
fine.
I'm just gonna go to my local eye doctor and
Be
um
like, "Sorry,
yeah
sorry, my glasses are in the basement of my dead neighbor." So like, I.
who refused to give me money for his
But
papers.
yeah, they because they can get the key to the house from Amy's mom, who's
Yeah.
conveniently selling the house.
And
They
also,
do
how do
that.
they randomly just get the key? Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know, childhood antics, like 1997 type beat.
Yeah.
But they go into the house again. They actually run into her mom, who's giving a tour, like, a day after the guy died,
Yes.
which I'm like,
Yeah, of course,
"Wow,
like, they grab the key,
they
and
move fast."
then they sneak into the house during the daytime
Mhm.
when they know her mom's a realtor who's going to be showing houses to people. And
Right.
it's
Oh,
like the
yeah, yeah,
day.
they don't run in. I stand corrected. I said something wrong. They don't run into the mom until the following day
Yes.
when they come back for
But, like,
our new friend who we're about to meet.
but you're going during the daytime,
I know.
and you're and maybe it's the 90s and no one thinks too much of it, but, like, if I were living in that neighborhood and I just saw 3 kids go into a dead guy's house
Yeah.
with the front
I'd be
through the
like,
front door, I'd be like, "Okay,
yeah.
maybe I
I
should
think they go
notify
back that
somebody."
same night though, because I think they have to get his glasses. So I think that
Yeah,
same night she probably gets the key. She
the
gets the
first
key and
time,
they
yeah.
go back. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so because they're trying to go through the basement window, and
Mhm.
then that's when Gilbert sees everything, and then he
Right.
runs
But
away. Yeah,
they have him like upside down,
yeah,
like hanging by his feet.
and
Which is
then
another thing that would happen in these early 2000 movies a lot. Like, they would
yes,
just be like, "What can you see down there?" And they would just have,
nothing,
like,
it's
somebody
pitch
suspended
black.
by their feet, like, over.
Yeah, it's very 90s. And then he, like,
Yeah.
runs away, and then that's when he's like, "I don't need my I'm fine, I don't need my glasses," and they're like, "We're going
Uh-huh.
back." "I'll just tell my mom." Like, "We gotta tell, like, my mom or something," and then
Uh-huh.
they're like, "Well, how are you gonna explain that to your mom? That we broke into a dead guy's house,
Yeah.
and that your glasses are in the basement?"
And then you're like, "Alright."
Alright.
Like, oh,
And I
man.
love, um, when he like, every time he describes his mom, because because
Girly sounds like she's tweaking a little bit.
oh, yeah,
Like,
well, because when they go back, like, when they go back sometime at nighttime
mhm.
and, um, they go to pick him up and he's like, "My mom's never gonna let me go out." And then it's like, I don't know what his last name is, but, like, "Oh, Gilbert's mom, like, can we take Gilbert out?" And she's like,
Mama,
"It's
can you
Esmeralda.
call
Uh,
me Esmeralda?"
call me Esmeralda." And then they look at Gilbert and he was like,
Her
"It's
name's not Esmeralda. He's like, "She's role playing. Go with it."
go with it." And then they're like, "Okay, Esmeralda, can Gilbert come get
Yes.
ice cream?" And she's like, "Yeah, have him back by 8:30." And he's like, "Great." And then the fact that and some
Oh.
people do collect dolls, but she's a doll collector. So you
Mhm.
can see it in the background when he's like opening the front door. But I love
I
the
love that
scene
bit though when they
where
talk
they're
about it.
like they're talking about it
Oh,
and how
yeah.
um Marshall was like, "Your mom brought her doll to the movie." And Gilbert's like, "Well, some people do that." He bought the doll popcorn.
He's like,
Uh,
"Once." She did that once.
once. And he got like real defense once.
I'm
And you're
like,
like,
"Oh, Gilbert,
right,
your
okay.
mom's probably a little bit insane, but it's okay."
It's
Like,
okay. And then when they go to pick him up, call me Esmeralda. And you're like, okay. And then you see the dolls in the
"You
background. You're
alright?"
like, yeah.
Maybe Girlie's just smoking that grass. Who knows?
Maybe yeah, she's having a great time. Um, she has to be. There's no way.
She dabbles in hallucinogenics a little bit. I just
If
know it.
she's maybe taking a little bit of mushrooms here and there and a little bit
Yeah.
extra stuff. And also they never mention his dad, do they?
Yeah.
So
Mm.
like
Yeah.
either his
No,
dad's
the only one that you truly get a glimpse of the home life is Marshall, because
yeah,
obviously he's like, I mean, besides Harold, I would say Harold's the protagonist, but
yes.
aside from Harold, Marshall's, I guess, the protagonist because they talk about his
Yeah.
mom and the new boyfriend, which
Yes.
somebody's playing 2 roles in this movie. I don't know if we brought that
I
up
didn't
yet.
notice he was the boyfriend.
I didn't notice until this time watching it.
I noticed he was Harold because Harold's obviously the mummy, and they named him Harold
Yes.
because they were like, "Well, that this is his name," and they were like, "Okay, we
Marshall was
can't."
like, he looks like my Uncle Harold."
Yeah, and so they named him Harold, and he does like he mumbles and he doesn't speak. Obviously, he's a mummy. He's been dead for like three
Uh-huh.
thousand years. But the
Yeah.
moment he started mumbling, I was like, "This guy sound. This sounds like Patrick Star." I'm like, "This guy. I don't know what it is, but this guy just sounds like Patrick." And I'm like, "I'm googling this," and then I googled it. I'm like, "He is Patrick Star." I was like, "That's
Iconic.
so cool." I'm like, I don't know
This
why that was
movie
so cool to
came
me, but I was
out
like, "Oh,
this movie is probably the reason why he got casted as Patrick Star, because this movie came out 2 years before
yes,
SpongeBob aired.
yeah."
So I just love the idea of one of, like, the executives at Nickelodeon, like, "Alright, we have this character called Patrick Star, and we need to find
Yeah, and they
who's
probably
gonna be his
watched
voice."
one of them probably watched this movie and they're like that mumbling, that voice, like the mumbling voice. I'm like,
They were just
yes,
like, "He's perfect."
he's perfect.
But he's also, showing his, many sides to himself, as he's also playing the role of, Marshall's mom's
Yes,
boyfriend, like the
Ted.
new, like,
Yeah,
Ted. Yeah,
Ted.
and I loved it because I recognized it when the scene in the beginning when Marshall comes in from the movies, and then Ted's like, "Oh, hey, you wanna talk? We get to," like, doing the
Yeah,
whole, like, overcompensating, like,
yeah,
trying to be his friend type thing. But he's, like, trying because he
yeah.
can see
He's
that he's, like,
trying,
not
but
really
it is
connecting
really
with him yet.
awkward.
I
And to
know, but he's
like
like,
do
"Hey,
that as
I
soon
got
as
some
he
ice
comes,
cream.
yeah,
You wanna talk about the movie like you saw?"
and
But
he's
anyway, so
like,
they go back to get Gilbert's glasses,
yes,
and then this is where, we encounter, because I guess they're starting to, like, they split up, right?
which
Don't they
is a
say they're gonna split up?
great option.
Great.
Definitely do
Always
that.
works.
Always split up. Yeah.
Yep. A la Scooby-Doo gang, you know?
Yes.
"Hey, gang, we're gonna split
And
up.
I love
Nothing
and
will
I
go
see the
wrong."
memes all the time where it's what's his face? And he's like, "Oh yeah, me and Daphne will explore the bedroom."
Yeah.
And then it's like his that one face he makes,
And
and
it's
I'm
like,
like,
"Oh, okay." I was like,
"Yes."
"Okay." And then
And
somehow
yeah, they
A
split up,
dog,
and of
always ends up
course,
by himself.
like Gilbert's like, "I'm gonna sit right here in this chair in the middle of the hallway, and I'm not moving." And you're like, "Sure about that?"
Sure.
"Sure."
I'm like, "Sure, nothing
"Sure."
will go wrong."
Yeah, because you're in
And
a
then
horror movie, so
uh-huh. Well, it's according to Google, it's a family
oh
comedy.
oh, a fat well, sure,
Uh, they kinda went ham on, like, Harold's whole deal, though.
yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, I guess they were like, "Oh, no," I still can't get over that this is the first DCOM
Yeah.
ever.
Like,
It's
this was
crazy to think
good.
about.
Yeah.
I know.
For
I know,
being
it's, like,
a
a really
90s movie?
well. Yeah. Yeah, and being a
Yeah.
'90s Disney movie, I mean, this was when Disney, I don't know if it's just, like, the tastes have changed and, like, kids are just their
Yeah.
tastes are different from they were, but I don't know, not to be like, "Oh, it was better back then," but, like, the well thought out, like, plot lines and stuff compared
Yeah.
to, like, things that are, like, now, I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
different, I guess.
Yeah,
I just
this
look at this
whole
stuff now
yeah.
and I'm like, "I don't understand."
Like, whoever thought of this, like, he
Yeah.
has to find his true love a mummy has to find his true love before
Uh-huh.
midnight on Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, that whole plot is just that's so good.
I know.
For being a '90s movie, like, that's decent.
I know. This is iconic too. This movie premiered, um, October 25th. So they knew they released this at, like, can you imagine this being released, like, in '90s Disney, and it's, like, the first
Yes.
DCOM, and it's a Halloween movie
And they're
at the
announcing it
hype
for the
of
first time, like, "This is our first
yeah,
ever, like, movie
yeah,
that we
yeah,
made as Disney Channel, and it's
mhm,
premiering tonight," and, and then back then, you couldn't pause anything, so, like, if you missed
right,
it, you missed it. Like, there was no going back and rewinding and, like, taping it, no TiVo, no anything.
mhm.
Ooh.
Oh, and I just found the original, poster for the movie.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
got, like on the Wikipedia page, and it's got, like, the old time, like, Mickey ears that, like, look like a TV set, and then you just have
Oh, yes.
Harold, like, posing in the
Like a
middle.
b-boy, like, with his arms crossed. It's
That's
so
too
funny.
good. That's too good.
'Cause,
And then underneath it, the
Halloween Town
tagline
had
says
their own.
Saturday, like, poster, right?
Yeah, they had one like that on Wikipedia's page.
Yeah, and I love how it says underneath it Saturday premiere, but they say, like, ear, like
Yes.
Mickey ears, like EAR. I'm like, "Oh,
Yep.
they knew what they were doing there."
Mhm.
Oh,
And I
man.
love, yeah, so when they go back in the morning to go in the basement, and then that's when the mom was like, "Yeah, they everything's gone." And they're like, "Huh?" And they're like, "Yeah, they removed everything already, like, out of the house." Which how do they do
Mhm.
that in, like,
So
that
fast.
so fast? But they did that, and then they were like, "But what about the stuff in the basement?" Mom's like, "No, when they came to get the rest of the stuff, there was nothing in the basement."
Mhm.
And so then, of course, they're like, "Crap, like, Harold's now gone."
Yeah.
And so, like, the first clip you see is him running or, like, hobbling along to a drive-through, and this
And
cracks me up. It's so
he
funny.
step he steps on the, like, bell that
Oh,
typically a
that yeah.
caller would go over that indicates that somebody's at the drive-thru. So
Yes.
it's like, "Hi, can I take your order?"
And
And
then
talk about,
he's
again, committed
obviously
acting. Committed
yes.
acting. This girl was just
She was
commit
like,
she again,
this might be my only
2 minutes
role,
of
but it's gonna
2
be
minutes
the
of
role."
screen time,
Yes.
but it was great. She's like he
This
just
might
keeps
be the only role
mumbling
she
into
ever
the
gets, but,
speaker.
like, this is gonna be her role. Like,
Uh-huh. He's, like, mumbling into the into the speaker, and then somehow she's able to go, "Oh, okay, so
yes.
that's a number 2 with fries and an orange soda." Like,
Yes.
"Girl, what?"
I love it, and, like, yeah, and she's like, "Oh, no, no, not the large fry. Oh, the extra large," and she's like, "Oh, I got it, yep, I got
"Yep,
it."
come around the window." I'm
Come around
like,
the
"What?"
window,
No,
and,
and I
like, I
love
love
when
because he's, like, not understanding, obviously, so he's, like, banging on the menu outside
uh-huh,
while also mumbling, and she's like, and, like, "Oh, you want a large drink with that?" She's, like, fully
yeah,
understanding that what he wants, and I find that
uh-huh,
so funny.
uh-huh.
I just
No, and
it's
I love the scene when he runs past the window and just grabs the cup and
yes.
just runs, and then she just looks out the window and goes, "Okay." And then
And I
just
love,
cuts
yeah,
to
even that little tiny acting right there from that girl. She was like, "This might be my only role, but it's
like
gonna
she
be
was like
the role."
Valley Girl delivery, like
Yes,
Valley Girl food service girl.
like
She's
her
like,
mom
"I
just made
pass
her get a
away."
job even though she doesn't think she needs one.
Yeah.
Um, but I love
Oh,
it, like, he,
man.
like, hobbles along as fast as he can, grabs a drink, keeps
Uh-huh.
going, and she's just like, "Okay." Like, "You
And
sure?"
then he figures out he knows, well, he understands what a trash can is, so then he, like, throws it away, like,
Yeah,
in the
he
trash.
gets like, he someone throws trash out, and he's, like, so shocked, he's like, "Wait, I could do that."
He's like, "Oh, I can do that too."
Yes.
Oh my god, the
It's
next part
yes.
is well, there's a
So
little scene where this movie's just genuinely funny.
It's
Like,
I don't know if
he's
that was the
standing
intention to make it that funny, but it was so funny
but it was just well-written jokes, like, maybe they really had to go ham on this one
because it was,
because
like,
they
the
were like, "Oh,
first
this is the
one.
first one," and
Yep.
they needed to convince, like, the executives, like, "Oh, we can make more of these.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we have good ideas." But I love when he's standing behind there's a mom kind of, like, fixing her kid's, like, Halloween costume,
Yep.
and then he goes the little kid looks up and
Oh,
goes,
yes.
"Oh, mommy, look at that ugly man." And then
And
she
I
goes,
love and the
"Well."
mom's doing the right thing, but the mom is
Yeah,
like, "We
right.
don't call
But if
people
only it was the mom
ugly."
with it's one of those things where, like, if you would only turn around, you would see what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
and so but they kept going on about it, and the kid was like, "No, mom," but he's, like,
No, look at his
really
face. Look
but,
at his
like, not
face.
like, look at his face, he's, like, really ugly.
And
And the
then she goes,
mom
"Some people are just special." And he goes, "Well, this guy's
is
really
really
sp."
special.
I'm like,
But then the mom turns
"That's
around and it's like,
really."
"Oh, shit. Now I
Does
get
she
it."
ever turn around? Does she see him?
Or maybe
I
not.
don't remember if she's I don't think she sees him. I think he keeps. Oh, yeah, yeah, because the little kid goes, "Well, this guy's really
Really
special."
special,
And
yeah.
then by then, Gilbert taught with their first encounter when they meet him, Gilbert taught, um, Harold how to make a thumbs up,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
meaning,
so he
like,
walks
"It's
away and just
okay."
thumbs up like,
Yeah, when the
"Huh?"
kid
And
goes, "Well,
keeps
this guy's
going.
really special," and then he just goes, "Mm," and just
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah. And right there, those little mumble, like, grunt things he's doing is Patrick Star.
I
And,
know.
like, I didn't even need to, like, look at I couldn't even tell you, like, what he looked like under that, but, like, just hearing that voice, I'm like, "Yep."
Uh-huh.
But then I love it too
And
because he ends up, like, near a hospital,
yes, because
and
he
so
sees somebody in bandages, so he thinks, "One of me," and then he
like,
just
"That's me."
runs.
Yeah. And then it goes all the way to inside the hospital, and of
Uh-huh.
course, like a typical thing, but, like, it's the, sliding doors, like the automatic
Right.
doors. So he goes
Mhm.
inside, then he get his the tail end of his wrap gets stuck.
Uh-huh.
So, like, it keeps dragging on and unraveling, and then he gets to, like, the front desk, and he rings the bell, and she's like, "I'll be right with you."
And he doesn't
But then he's
understand.
like, "Wait, that was kinda fun," and then he keeps, like, hitting the bell, and she's like, "I said I would
It's
be
like
right with you."
there's he has so much, like he's rediscovering the world, so he and
Yes.
there's so many new advances from when he was alive.
Yep.
So, like, it's almost like a child, like, just re-entering the world, like, just
Yes.
rediscovering, like, all these
Yeah,
newfangled
and
things.
then when she, like, turns around,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Oh my god, it's a burn victim, like, you gotta help him, you gotta
Yep.
help him." And then,
Yeah.
like, they get him on a gurney, and they're, like, checking his pulse. He doesn't have a pulse. And they're, like, getting the what is it called? The defibrillator?
Yeah, the
And then, like,
defibrillator,
they're
yeah.
trying to, like, get some, something going. And then they're
Uh-huh.
like, he's still not breathing, code blue." And they're, like, freaking out. And then they do
Yeah.
it again. And because they're doing it on top of his wraps, like, right where his nipples would be, is like,
Yeah.
it just catches on fire. And so, like, you just hear him mumbling, shaking, and he's, like, pounding his chest. And it's, I literally, it
It
died.
must be, like, the reaction of, like, the electricity, because when you use a defibrillator on somebody, they remove the clothes so it goes directly on your skin,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing it's because it's hitting whatever's on the wrap, so it made some type of,
Yes.
like, whatever interaction to just make it
Yeah.
burn. Just like now he is a burn victim thanks to you guys.
Yes.
That they didn't know, which was wild to me, how they were like, "Oh, he's not breathing." I'm like, but they see that he's, like, moving around. It's crazy. So
Yeah.
funny. And
Like,
then
you
and
would
then they finally I'm sorry, what were you gonna say? I didn't mean to
oh,
cut you
like,
off.
you would think they would know, given that they work in a hospital, to take the clothes off
Yeah. Yeah.
before, but
Yeah. I don't know, I guess they were just like I don't know, I guess it
yeah.
was like well, they said code blue, so I guess they were just acting accordingly,
Yeah, they
but
were just trying to, like, really just get on it.
yeah. But then he leaves the hospital, that's his last little escapade before he, like, runs down the street, and then, the whole time while all of this is happening, Marshall and Amy and Gilbert are trying to look for him because 'cause they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, what happened?" Like, they don't know if they don't know if whoever cleared out the basement took him away, like, they don't
Mhm.
know what's going on, and in the meantime, there's also, like, a flash to, like, a warehouse type thing, and then, you find out that somebody's not dead, and we
Yes.
thought that they were. Mr. Kubat is very
Kubat,
much still
his
alive.
name, Kubat.
It's I know, it's a great name, but he's very much still alive, and then we get the whole discussion of, "Well, the coffin was empty when we got there." "Well,
Yes.
find him." And then that the very, like, next scene is Tim, like, running down the street, and then Marshall and Marshall, Amy, and Gilbert finally well, the gang, I'm just gonna call them the gang.
The gang. 'Cause
The
saying
gang
3
finally
names, like
Yeah, right. Oh man, but the gang finally catches up to Harold, and then they kind of corner him and get him away from the people that are trying to chase him. I think they were running from the hospital. I think like the hospital staff like ran after him. So
Yeah.
then they they corner him, and this is one of my favorite moments in the entire movie. It's when he's like, "What happened?" And then
Yes.
Harold's like recounting the entire thing, but just through mumbles and like
Yes.
random hand motions. Like he makes the hand motion of the sliding door opening.
Yes.
Oh, oh, and then
Ooh.
he like hits. I'm hitting the button,
Yeah.
hitting the button over and over again, and then defibrillators, and then he's like, and then I got here, and so like in his own way, he's like, and then I met up with you guys. And then Marshall goes, you know, it's the scary part. I understood every word,
I know. He's like, I understood every single thing.
and they're like, huh? Maybe he has the same
Well, because even from the
skills as
beginning,
the girl at the drive-through.
yeah.
That she can just
Well,
so that's two shakes and a
yeah. But even from the beginning, they did make it seem like he knew what was going on. Like he understood from the
right,
very beginning.
yeah, and like they almost make I mean, I guess I'm just comparing it to it almost feels like Elliot and ET, like that type
Yeah.
thing, like how
Yeah.
they can't communicate with each other, but they like understand each other. And they almost, like, feel each other's, like, pain, weirdly
Yes.
enough, but
Yep.
then this is, then they decide, "Well, we can take him to my house," so then they take Harold to Marshall's house, and they basically hide him from his mom by saying that he's just another one of the statues, the horror
Yes.
statues that he has in his room.
Yeah. Also, why? I mean, every kid has hobbies and what they like and don't like. I'm just
Uh-huh.
confused about who's letting their child have like 5 or 6 like creepy Halloween statues
I know,
in his room.
I know. He's got the one. Did you notice the one, is from the movie that they saw in the beginning?
Yep. Yep.
The one where Harold even gets scared of it, and he's like, "No, it's fake. It's okay."
And he like
But I guess he's
punches
just
he
like,
punches it, and then
yeah.
to show that it's fake, and then Harry's like, "Wait," and so he starts punching it.
He's like, "Oh," I love when he makes
Oh,
every discovery that he makes, but
it's
it's
so
so funny
funny.
when the mom keeps turning around, because she's like, "What is all this noise up here?" And
Yes.
he's like, they're like, "We were clogging."
Yeah, it's like Amy. She was teaching us clogging. Take it away, Amy.
Show her quickly so she can be on her way.
Yes,
I
and
love
then
the way
Amy's
they
just
talk.
like whatever. She's just like
Sure.
loudly like making noise, and then the mom's like, "Okay,
Alright.
and she as she's leaving, she turns around. You should really clean up. It like stinks in here.
It's starting to stink.
It's starting to stink in
And then
here."
but she's when she first sees Harold, she gets scared of him, then she goes, "Wow, this
Uh,
one's good."
yeah, this one's really good. Wow.
I think the mom her attitude towards what he has in his room, though, makes me think that she's probably maybe also, like, a horror movie fan.
Yes,
So maybe that's, like, where he gets it from.
and also
Because her
like
reaction was kind of just like, "Ooh, this is cool." Like, I don't know, most
yes,
moms would be like, "Oh, what is this?" You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and I'm
So
also
I think she's
wondering too, like
probably
maybe again,
like
I was young in during this time, but
Mhm.
how they were just able to go to the movies by themselves and like did their parents drop them off and what like was it PG? Probably
Yeah,
not. So
I
like how
know.
did they even watch the movie?
Maybe and it states specifically in the description that they're 12, so it's not even
Yeah.
if it's a PG-13 movie, I mean, they would need to, I guess, have, like, a parent with them. I guess it's just, like, suspension of disbelief. They're like, "They went to go see this movie.
Yeah.
That's it."
Because obviously the mom didn't care because when he came home from the movie,
Yeah, he didn't,
Ted
like,
was like,
seem
"Oh, how was the
knew that he went.
movie?"
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
it's but
Again, I guess maybe the mom's just, like, open with whatever he's doing because she's
yeah,
like, "Oh, his father doesn't really come around, and he's just kinda dealing with this new situation
yeah,
with her and Ted." So I guess
yes.
she's kind of, like, whatever about stuff. But what's next? They kind
Oh
of, like,
yeah. Well,
they have to hide him
they hide
away.
him upstairs
Uh-huh.
in his attic broom thing.
Yeah.
But I love when he's talking to Amy the next morning and he's like, "We got to figure out what to do because the only way that he keeps quiet is if I play movies the entire night." And it's all these sappy love movies, and he's like naming off all the movies that Harold loves watching. It's like while you're sleeping, or like Sleepless in Seattle, and it's like that's. But then you think about it, it's like he is like he just wants love, like he wants
Yeah, he's like a
yeah
hopeless romantic. The first scene when he gets in Marshall's bedroom, he puts on the little boombox, and he loves the song, which I thought was so cute. How this was an ongoing theme throughout the movie. He loves the song that's all by
yes
myself.
yeah and
Like later on, when they take him out, and he goes to like a Halloween party. He's dancing with someone while that song is playing
yeah
in the like dance. Oh man.
and and what I this oh we this creeped me out a little bit, but when
Yeah.
they wanted to learn about mummies in the first place, they're like, well, how do we figure out like how we're gonna help this mummy get back to
Right.
whatever it needs to get back to? It's like I know a guy, and then I forgot the guy's name. What does he have a name?
Bruce. His name is
Bruce.
Bruce.
They
Yeah.
were like, we can go see Bruce, and then when you go see Bruce, it's like he owns this like creepy Halloween type store, and he's
Yeah.
like this old guy. Not old,
Yeah.
but like he's much older than they are, and they're 12.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you know this guy? And should you be talking to him?
Right.
And then he was
I mean,
like,
I'm gonna assume again, I'm just trying to be on like the innocent side of things, but like maybe it's like, oh, Marshall was just like walking by the shop one day and then just started talking to the guy because he was into like all this like horror
yeah,
stuff. Maybe I'm thinking that's where he's getting the stuff that's like in his room
yeah,
from that guy's shop too. I want to
yeah,
think that. I don't know, but it did seem odd at the same time. Like he's not like, oh, this is my cousin, or this you know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
some random guy.
Or like, this is like if that was the mom's boyfriend, you'd be like, this is my
Right,
mom's
right, right,
boyfriend.
right, right.
Um, but then he was like, yeah, I have a book on vampire, or like, I have a book on werewolves. And then they go into the back, and you're like,
Mhm.
this is even creepier. But now
Yeah,
we're going into your back where no one can see us if something were to happen.
yeah.
So,
True.
and then they learn all about,
Thankfully, this man Bruce seems to not be. I mean, it's creepy settings, but he seems to be overall like okay from
yeah,
what you see. Because then later on, he helps with the haunted house, I believe. That's at
yeah,
the party that they go to.
yep.
So I guess he's the Halloween guy. I guess is what
Yeah,
we'll
he's
call
the
him.
typical like. There's a one in every movie. I feel like.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they go to a Halloween party and they go to find him and they're like, "Hey, we need your help. This is the plan." And he does go to help them. And I don't know if this is just for Halloween purposes, but why does he have a hearse as his
Good
car of
point.
choice?
Good point.
I'm assuming it's because it's Halloween. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with that.
Let's hope.
Unless he's someone that just likes to drive a hearse everywhere.
I think I gotta watch the there's a remake of this movie
Yeah,
for
I don't
people that
know.
don't know, which that's on Disney Plus and this isn't. We had to watch this through YouTube,
YouTube.
so thank you to the soul that
Yeah.
put this on YouTube and it didn't get taken down. I guess maybe it doesn't have enough copyright claims where anybody would want it taken down, I guess. But yeah, I kind of want to watch the remake to just see how do they translate all of this.
Yeah,
Like,
because back
how did
then
they?
you can get away with a lot.
Yeah,
And not that there
yeah.
wasn't anything bad in the movie, but like
Mm-mm.
the
Little comments
humor.
here and there where I was like, I don't know, like,
Yeah,
but it's just like it's also that comedy of that age that
yeah,
just is different. Like, I just wonder, like, what is the Bruce character like in the new one? Like,
yes.
how do they portray like all the different stuff with like Harold and like meaning is true love? Like, I
Yeah.
wonder. We'll
And
report back, but I can probably guarantee, even from just looking at the poster, that this one's probably better than the remake. But it is what
also
it is.
yeah, when you remake something, and I guess depends on how you remake it, but like is it going to be the same exact storyline of they wake up a mummy for whatever reason? They wake up the
Yeah.
mummy. This is they have to get the mummy, true love, then back in the coffin. Like, I don't know. Well, let's see. Does it say?
2021 remake, and apparently the remake got a sequel as well,
Yes.
which rude because this movie never got a
I
sequel.
know.
So like, why? Whatever.
So it's yeah.
You
So
gotta
the
pay some
cat.
respect to the first DCOM ever. You're not gonna
Yeah.
give that a sequel. And it's wild because like other Halloween DCOMs have gotten sequels. Like
Yes.
we got a sequel for we got sequels for Halloween Town.
Yes.
We got sequels for Twitches,
Twitches.
which we'll be discussing shortly.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
but I don't know. I feel like they could have.
Yeah.
But
But maybe it
and
was just
November
like maybe
13th.
they just thought it was gonna be like a standalone like
Yeah.
this. But it does say in the 2021 film, a few days before Halloween, Gilbert, Marshall, and Amy accidentally revive an Egyptian mummy they discover in their neighbor's basement, and they name him Harold and must rush to return him to his resting place before midnight on Halloween. So it's the same storyline.
Okay.
Um,
The girl that plays Amy in the new one looks significantly older than the other two.
yes,
Did you
and
see the poster?
yeah,
I don't know if one's supposed to be. It almost looks like she's supposed to be the other one's like sister, but like
yeah,
I don't even know if that's the case.
she's
They just
17.
look like the same
Yeah,
age, and then she just looks significantly older.
yeah,
When Harold is captured, they must band together to stand up to the criminals, face their fears, and rescue their new but rather ancient friend. God, that
ancient
wording.
friend. God,
Ah,
oh my.
ancient.
And I love the ancient is in air quotes,
Uh-huh.
and you're like, okay. Um, yeah, I don't know how I feel about remakes because I tried, and I guess Freaky Friday technically was a remake of the original, and then
Uh-huh.
they remade the 2000s one into
Yeah.
like a musical movie one. And I watched like the first two like minutes, and they broke out into song, and I was like, nope, no.
No.
And I know it's the whole point, like it's a musical, so like in Hairspray, like the beginning was a song,
Uh-huh.
but like it that made sense. But
Yeah.
like I guess because Hairspray is also a musical, like this isn't a musical to begin with. So when they just
Right.
made it into like a musical movie, I'm like, this does not make sense, and I can't. My
Yeah.
brain could not watch it. So, but this looks
Yeah,
not too bad.
sometimes that doesn't
Yeah.
work out. I heard that happened with the new Joker movie as well. So
Ooh,
not everything
really?
has to be a musical. Yeah, I
Wait,
heard it. I haven't seen it myself.
I
Obviously.
haven't seen the
Yeah.
first one either, but I
Oh, okay.
know. But you liked it, right?
Yeah, yeah. The first one was
Yeah.
great. Second one's a musical for some reason. Not quite
Okay.
sure why.
I mean,
But
maybe that's why Lady Gaga's in it.
yeah, yeah, I
But
can understand that. But it just doesn't. If you see the first one,
yeah,
you don't understand how it can.
yeah,
If it's not like it's in that same world, you can't understand why it's would be. It
yeah,
just doesn't make sense.
yeah.
But I don't know.
Oh yeah. So
They decided to
back
make
to
the Freaky
yeah,
Friday remake a musical for whatever reason.
yeah. It was weird, and
But
it was. I couldn't get past it. Maybe I'll watch it one day, but I couldn't get past it. But like
I don't know.
for
Can you imagine if they made the remake of this a musical? They were like, "We found a
God,
mummy."
yeah. It's just as he's like
He's in the
falling halfway
basement.
down like the basement, he's just like, I'm dying. It's
No,
just
no, no. All the things of like Harold isn't singing. It's just in
and
the
no one
middle of the song.
and I or he's singing that he lost his glasses. And it's
Oh
just like
God.
him acting like Velma from Scooby Doo. I
Oh
can't
yeah,
see
yeah. My
without my
glasses,
glasses, but he's
my
like singing. Yeah.
glasses.
But that would be
Oh
so
man.
funny. That would be so funny if they did a musical of this and then it was
Yeah.
just Mummy like mumbling and like groaning.
Uh huh.
So funny.
So
But again,
should we circle back to some
yes.
witches?
Yes. But
So
also
what's
for
our
under wraps, like
yeah.
in every Disney Channel movie, they always have a good ending. So of
Mhm.
course, it just so happens that the museum that's in their town is having like an Egyptian. night, and it's like
Right.
everything Egyptian, and then there's
It's for like an
an
exhibit, right?
an exhibit. Yeah.
That's why they have the coffin um returned to the museum from his
Yes.
like basement.
That's why they have the hearse, just to carry the coffin. Um,
Yeah,
but
normal.
they go back to like the museum, and then there's a second coffin or sarcophagus, if you want to be like proper, and they open it.
Yeah.
It's the female mummy,
Mhm.
and then she wakes up, and then they fall in
Mhm.
love, and then they go back in their sarcophaguses, and then boom, everything's fine.
You know what?
And it
Brainstorm.
and
You
it's
know what
right
should have been this you
before
know what should have
midnight
been the
too.
sequel? Yeah, convenient. But
Yeah.
you know what should have been the sequel? Where's Her Story? I wanna hear about the
Yes.
female mummy.
Ooh.
That would've been a good
Yeah.
sequel. Like, for
Yep.
some reason, they come back, but, like, something's wrong with Harold, and, like, she has to team up with the kids this time and, like, help them save him.
Yeah.
That would've been good.
And
Hey,
then
Disney, you fucked up by not doing that.
I
That'd
know,
have been very good.
but then under wraps too it says for like the newer version, Amy's preparing for her father Pop's Halloween themed wedding to his fiance Carl. So I guess his
Huh,
dad's gay, which is great. We love that.
yeah.
She alongside with Gilbert and Marshall discover that an evil mummy named Sobek is out for
Epic.
revenge.
Oh, interesting. Somebody from Harold's past, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, like, sorry, revenge on what?
I don't know. I
Oh,
guess we'll
oh.
have to watch the remake to find out. I don't know.
It
Maybe
says
it's an added plot from the remake that they just wanted to add in for some
so. It
reason.
says Sobek is out for revenge on their mummy friends Harold and Rose. So Rose
Harold and
is
Rose?
so Rose must be Harold's love interest, like the female mummy.
Yeah,
So I guess in the second one, Sobek is out for revenge on both of them. Interesting.
yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
know how I feel about
the female in the 1997 original, female mummy was only shown at the end, but she had some kick-ass eyeliner, I will say.
it. Mm-hmm.
Like, they
Girl,
showed it
she
when
was
she was, like
beat
when they were, like, getting back into the sarcophagus and, like,
beat for the gods,
uh yeah.
beat for the Egyptian gods, because her makeup was good.
Yeah, her mug.
Yep.
Stunning! No.
Sickening.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was good. I was watching that again yesterday, and I was like, I haven't seen it probably since I was a kid.
Mhm.
So watching
It
it
hits
again, I
every
was like,
time.
it hits, it slaps.
It hits.
Yes.
I think it's for all ages, I think, can
Yeah.
appreciate it. It's genuinely, like, very funny.
Oh yeah. And
So
then
where are we headed next? We're
oh,
headed to country,
I
I believe.
one of my favorites too, and I have a lot
Yes.
of favorite Disney Channel movies, but one of my favorites is Twitches
Hell yeah.
because I feel like Twitches. Well, Halloween Town, the whole franchise is good. The last one's kind of iffy,
Yeah.
mainly because it's not the same actress. But like,
They wanted to replace
yeah.
Marnie and act like we wouldn't notice.
Well, at
Okay.
first I read that somewhere that there was scheduling conflicts and she couldn't do it. But then I think she came out with a statement later on saying they never asked her. Interesting. Um, but I love like Halloween Town is like peak childhood, but then Twitches is like peak like middle school, high school, like or about movies. So it came out in 2005, and it says reunited on their 21st birthday, twin sisters use their magic powers to save their kingdom from the forces of darkness. It's again with these low ratings. It's 5.7 out of 10.
They just don't know.
Matter of
They just
opinion.
don't know good they just don't know good quality stuff. No, I mean, Under Wraps even just has a Rotten Tomato score of, like, 59%. I'm like, "That's entirely too low,"
Yeah,
in my
maybe
opinion.
because it's the first one, but
Mhm.
the Rotten Tomatoes
But
is
still, they've had
60%,
all this time to
which is
raise the Rotten
yeah,
Tomato score, so no
yeah,
excuse.
but 60%. 4 twitches,
Mhm.
which again I think is low, but
I agree.
yeah. So let's see. As I'm like having a coughing fit, if I pause and you can't hear me, I'm coughing my lungs out. So it says in the magical
It's
dimension
okay.
of Coventry. See, like I should mute when I cough so I don't like sound awful. In the magical dimension
All
of
right, we could be like
Coventry.
briefer, I guess, on these last two.
Yeah, sorry.
Give you
The
some
royal
relief.
witch Miranda gives birth to identical twin daughters on Halloween night, and the sisters are named Apollo and Artemis. First of all, what? Like,
Yeah,
first of all, like, it says named after the Olympian twins. Okay,
Apollo and Artemis.
you're right. So
I'm
why
like, I
is
don't know
it that
the
like
crossover.
so you name it Apollo, but you put an A at the end, so it's like a feminine? Fine.
Right.
Artemis? You couldn't have
Yeah.
thought something like better than Artemis? But I guess
Yeah.
Artemis is a Greek goddess. It's not a guy.
Hmm.
But like
Right.
Artemis to me is like male sounding name.
Yeah.
Um, but no, she's a Roman goddess.
Hmm.
And so it says, let's see. Oh yeah, so Apollo and Artemis, named after the twin gods, sun and the moon. In accordance with their namesakes, Apollo wears an amulet that's shaped as the sun. Artemis wears one that's shaped like the moon. Their dad, Aaron, he's a powerful warlock, and he dies fighting the darkness. And then there's two caregivers, Karsh and how do you pronounce her name? It's like forget what it's like Leana.
Are you talking about the people that are like
Yeah,
their
they're like
protectors?
protectors. Yeah,
You know what's really odd?
I don't think
When
that's
you look up this movie, I don't know why, it doesn't happen anywhere else, but when you look it up on IMDb, it's not called Twitches. It comes up as The Witches of Coventry,
interesting. I
which I
wonder
think
if
is
like
really odd. If that was maybe supposed to be like the working title,
yeah,
but then, but their protectors, I don't know. I'm looking up. I want to say Elena, Elena,
Elena.
maybe.
Yeah,
I'm
uh,
gonna say Elena based on like Elena because there's like
Elena.
multiple.
Yeah,
Because I think it's Illeana, so it's
yeah.
Elena.
So
I
like
want to say
they're their protectors, and then so
who later on we find out are a couple.
couple, which again,
Cute. I
when
love that.
you watch it for the first time, you're like, ah, like it's so shocking when you see things for the
Yeah,
first time.
yeah,
Um, but they basically, and I don't know why they had to separate them. I think they were trying to say like separating them gives them a better chance at like survival, I guess. And
yeah.
so like they take them to Earth.
So that
Yeah.
the because the thing that they're running from the entire time is called the darkness. So I guess if they're in two different places, the darkness couldn't like really split off.
Yeah.
Like it has to stay. Darkness is
Yep.
basically just this like cloud that like
Yeah.
follows them around the whole time. So I guess it can't separate into two different places.
Yep. So they drop them off at hospital on Earth,
Mm,
and then Apollo is adopted by a wealthy couple, and that's Cameron. So she lives like the nicest lifestyle and has like a maid, and
mm-hmm,
her house is all fancy. And then Artemis is Alex. She grows up with a single mother, and you find out like in the beginning that her mom passed away like 3 months ago. So she's
mm-hmm,
like living with her best friend and her sister and her mom.
mm-hmm,
Um, and then they're supposed to like protect them, but their darkness is coming to Coventry, and so they know when they're turning 21 that they're the only ones that are going to be able to save them. And so when they turn 21, they need to learn their powers and they get to learn that they're sisters and they can work together to defeat the darkness. And so they go, Cameron goes for her 21st birthday. Cameron goes with her best friend to go shopping, and then Alex is looking for a job. So they try to manipulate it so that they're going to the same store. And then Alex goes in and says, "Oh, you're like, are you hiring?" And the lady tries to like brush her off, which
Mhm.
annoyed me so much when I watched it.
Oh yeah.
Like, just because she didn't look like someone who would shop there doesn't mean she can't work.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those fancy stores where you walk in and you have to look a certain way, otherwise they're gonna
Mhm.
assume you can't afford anything.
Yeah.
Um,
And of the two of them, I was the whole time with the thing with I was always looking at Alex's outfit and I was like, I would wear that now. Like,
yes,
yeah,
her outfit.
it's like
Yeah, it was like the
it screams early 2000s though with the whole like long dress with the jeans underneath,
yes, yep.
like Ashley Tisdale red carpet.
Oh my gosh, we need to find that picture. That's so
Like,
great. Yeah, and then so they finally see each other for the first time.
mhm. Yeah,
Cameron's
they
like,
run into each other
yeah,
in the clothing store.
yes,
Cameron's like shopping at the store, and then Alex is just like, "Yeah, I work. I guess I work here now." So she's
yes,
like picking up piles of clothes in the dressing room.
yes, and they see each other, and obviously Cameron is so excited to find out that she has a twin sister. Alex is like, no thanks. Like, my
She's
life is
like,
my
"What is
life.
this? I gotta go."
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I don't know how I would feel. Like, after
oh, that would
21
freak me out.
years, and then I walk in and someone that's my twin is just standing there.
You
Like,
know what I liked about this movie though? That they didn't it was I didn't realize that they were as old as they were being like portraying. Like I didn't realize like a lot of movies like this would be like, "Oh, when they met when they were like 13 or 6
yes,
like
yeah.
they were like fully grown like adults."
They were
I guess
20.
they
Yeah.
couldn't play it all right. I guess they couldn't play it off because this stars famous twins, Tia and Tamara Mowry, and by this time they had already been
Yeah.
off of doing Sister Sister. Like that show had
Yes.
been done
Yeah.
by then, so I guess they were like, we can't make them teenagers. It wouldn't make sense.
Yep. Um, and it's based on a book.
Oh
Um,
wow, I didn't know that.
and the book is the same plot line
Mhm.
where they get separated and the darkness and all that, which is cool. Um,
Mhm.
but I love, like, Cameron's so excited that she has a twin sister, and Alex is like, no.
She's like, I gotta go. Like this
And
is
then when
weird.
she,
Like,
I love, I don't know why it cracked me up so much, but when they grab each other's hands and all the clothes like come off the mannequin,
mhm.
so funny.
Yeah, and then later on when the lady gets pissed, that hired Alex at the store.
Yeah,
I love
she's
when
like,
Cameron's
you're
she's like,
fired.
oh, look at your
If you didn't know this already, you're fired.
right. And
And
then
then
when I love when Cameron goes, oh, nice window. She
as
just
when
turns
she
around
turns
and the
around and
mannequin's
they're
like,
all like naked mannequins. And
oh
then,
man.
well, and this is something that shocked me too. So like they go back and forth between like the country and then obviously Earth. Miranda's their biological mom, and Aaron is their dad who passed away. So the only person to take care of Miranda is his brother. And Miranda falls in love with her widow's or her husband's like brother, um, who later find out is the evil guy.
Mhm.
Which for the first time, again, with all these Disney movies, like seeing it for the first time, I would have never guessed it.
They were good at writing
Oh,
plot
that
twists. They were
yeah,
good at ripping out the
yeah,
rug from underneath you,
yes.
so to speak.
And then it says, according to the old prophecy, the sisters are the only ones capable of vanquishing the darkness and restoring Coventry. As she has the gift of knowledge, Alex refuses to help fulfill the prophecy because her stories end with death. So she like Alex can see kind of into the future, knows that something bad happens, so she refuses to help. And then she convinces Alex to stay, and then they do end up defeating. And his name is Thantos, which is close to Thanos. Which I don't know if that was like planned. Maybe not, because I think Thantos is also in Greek mythology. Um, but you find out their uncle is really the bad guy. And he like tries to kill them, tries to kill Miranda, and then the only way to kill him is with light. And it did get me because, well, not light, love. but they're holding hands. Remember the scene at the end where they're holding hands and
Mhm.
like the only way to defeat him is love, so they keep talking about all the things they love. And then she's like, Alex is like, "Oh, I love my birth mom, and I love um my best friend, Lucinda," and she's going on and on. She's like, "And I love my sister, and I love like Miranda," but she keeps going on about like how much she loves like Cam, her sister that she just
Mhm.
met, and just the way
Mhm.
they did it. And I remember crying when I was watching it for the first time.
I
I was
teared
like,
up because
"Ah,
I hadn't seen it in years,
yeah,
and this was one of the ones that I haven't,
yeah,
watched in, like, the past
yeah,
couple of years. Like, I watch, like, Halloween Town every year, like, Under Wraps mostly, like, every year. This was one that I hadn't watched in a
yeah."
while, but I was like, "Wow, this is hitting right now."
Yeah, and I when I watched it the other day and they were talking about how much they love each other and they're getting rid of the darkness and I was crying. I was like, "Oh, this is so cute. I love it so much."
I know.
Um I feel like this one wasn't as funny as some of the other ones. Like
No,
there was yeah,
it was definitely more serious
yes. And I
in
guess
tone, like,
and it only came out in
there was,
yeah.
like, silly gags, but, like,
Yeah.
not jokes, I guess
Yeah.
you could say.
And it also had a sequel, which is 2,
Mhm.
which was I don't remember that one at all. Um but
I'm definitely gonna watch it now that I rewatched
yes.
this one,
Yeah.
so we'll report back on that as well.
Yeah, and one thing that I didn't know because it's based off a book, there's 10 books in that series.
Whoa, the whole saga right there.
A whole yeah, The Power of Two, Building a Mystery,
Okay.
Seeing is Deceiving, Dead Wrong, Don't Think Twice, Double Jeopardy, which just reminds me of Jeopardy, uh, Kindred Spirits, The Witch Hunters, Split Decision, and Destiny's Twins.
Hmm,
Interesting.
nice.
So I guess basically they just split all 10 books into 2 movies, I'm assuming.
Hmm,
Um,
yeah.
hmm. What is your final movie?
Our final film is well, we delved into the world of mummies. We
Mhm.
talked about some witches. Um, and now we're gonna talk about a vampire.
Oh, I
Vampire.
this one was
I
also funny.
I love this movie. I think it's underrated.
It's so
It's
underrated. It's
never.
so good.
I think Under Wraps is also underrated too,
Yes.
but those two, they're never brought up in like the conversation. I feel like everybody like
Under
forgets
Wraps,
about
I
them.
never hear what people talk about.
Yeah, yeah. This one too. I feel like nobody talks about Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire,
It's so
but I adore this movie. Honestly,
yes.
it's funny. It's charming. The end resolve of the movie is like family is
Oh
everything,
yeah.
which I think is so cute and so beautiful. I love it. But let's look up the synopsis of
Oh
this.
yeah. What is Google?
But it's
What's the Google rating
basically
to?
um a single mom, played by Carolyn Ray. She's one of the aunts in Sabrina the Teenage
Yes.
Witch,
Yep.
which is where I knew her from
Hmm.
other than this movie.
Yeah.
But it's basically her kids want to go to let me just say the Hansons, right?
Oh yeah.
Have major. I love these descriptions. The Hansons have major social engagements planned, but all they've been grounded.
Ooh,
So they are delighted when her mom gets a date, enabling them to sneak out. However, their delight is short-lived when their brother Taylor suspects mom's new boyfriend is
it's
a
a
bloodsucker.
bloodsucker. Nice. I
That's
love
how
it.
they put it. That's how they put it. Um, yeah, and this has some familiar faces. The vampire in question is none other than Charles Shaughnessy, aka
Yes.
Mr. Sheffield from The
Uh,
Nanny.
yes.
The vampire hunter, which has the most vampire hunter name I've ever seen, Malachi Van Helsing.
Yeah, I know. They couldn't have thought like that.
Well,
Yeah.
Van Helsing is like a classic name for like
Yeah.
vampire
Yep.
hunters, but they were like, we're using this.
Yeah.
But he's played by Robert Carradine, who can also be seen on the Disney Channel as Lizzie McGuire's dad. Which when I
Yes. Yep.
remembered he was in this, I screamed. I was like, "What?"
Yes.
He's playing pretty much the polar opposite of what he did on Lizzie McGuire, which was just like silly antics, and in this,
Yes.
a very serious vampire hunter. But yeah, this movie's really good. It takes place in I don't know exactly where it takes place, but the movie starts in um, basically, like they said, they all have social engagements. The one middle, I think he's the middle child. Yeah, middle child Adam. He wants to go to this concert. It's all taking place at this like fall festival that they have in their like town. So he wants to go to see a concert. I believe the band's called the Headless Horseman,
Yeah.
and his older sister Chelsea wants to go on a date with her boyfriend Peter. Um, Adam gets grounded because he basically like bullshits a report in school and just basically pulls out a newspaper and is like, "This vampire
Yes.
hunter," and and then while the mom is like scolding him later on for his report, the daughter Chelsea gets involved and makes like a smart comment. So then the mom's like, "You know what? Just for that, you're grounded too."
Yes. Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, it's that classic thing." But mom, I'm going
Mama,
to
but
the
can't
they
you
have
ground me the whole
plans.
week? You can ground me the whole week, and I won't do
Oh, I
anything.
love that
Just
scene. I
not
was
this
cracking
week.
up at that scene when he's like, "Yeah, so what?" Because
He like got
he
up and he was like, "I have a plan. So this is what's
mhm,
gonna happen." And then he's like
mhm,
rambling about like, "So here's the math. If you
right.
let me go to this on Saturday, then the whole
Like
week I won't do this, this, and
conniving,
this."
like,
Yeah.
but they come up with a genius plan.
Yeah.
They're like,
Why?
"Oh,
Why? I mean,
what they're gonna do? What we're gonna do is naturally we're gonna set up our mom on a date, and we're gonna do it the safest way possible by emailing." This movie takes place in the two that well came out in the year
2000, right?
2000,
Yeah.
the new millennia.
Oh,
So naturally they play they look in the newspaper because people used to put before there were dating sites, people would put ads in the newspaper
yeah.
for dating. This is how there was before there was dating sites, you would just put basically an ad in the newspaper. I think it was called like the single. I forget if it was called like the singles something like something. It was a dedicated part of the newspaper where people would basically just put an ad saying, "I'm looking for this, this, that," and then just put like their an email or like a phone number and just set up, I guess, hookups and dates that way.
Yeah.
So they just find a random guy's email address
Which is
and they just
crazy. And
email
what, like his name, wasn't it something like his email was like Wolf's Main or
Wolfsbane. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's like because the guy that she actually ends up having a date with, his name is Dimitri, but I think he put the ad in the paper under like Wolfsbane. Like I don't know if it's clear. Did the vampire make the ad or did the
Yeah.
vampire hunter make the ad?
No,
How
he
did the
made
vampire he just found him because he was, like, looking for him.
yeah,
Okay.
I think the vampire put his own ad in knowing that like
Mhm.
he's hungry or whatever you want to however you want to
Yeah.
explain it. And so he put an
Yeah.
ad looking knowing that there's someone that's going to some lady that's going to fall for it. And he
Uh-huh.
puts like his email and then both the older kids are like, oh, this guy, like they're
Perfect.
reading off all these guys on from the newspaper. And they're like, this guy sounds perfect. But then it's like,
Mhm.
oh, but he likes tennis or whatever, something stupid. It's like, oh, but he likes this. No, 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 not for mom. And then they read off Dimitri's like bio, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. But the
Loves
thing that
long
made
walks
me
on the
laugh
beach.
yeah, loves long romantic walks on the beach and, but the thing that made me laugh was, like, hates Italian food. I was like, "That's funny because of the garlic." I was like,
I didn't even think of
that
that.
little, like yeah, they're like, "Hey" at the bottom of the it's like the last thing that they say. He goes like, "Hates Italian food." And then, they that comes up again because when they're deciding where they're gonna when Dimitri and their mom are deciding where they're gonna go on a date, he goes, "Anything but Italian food."
Oh yeah, I
And I'm
hate
like,
Italian.
the little, like, quips of, like it was funny. But they email this guy, and then they literally tell them where their mom is gonna be. They're like, "She's gonna be at this," and they plan to
Yeah.
meet. I guess it's good because it's, like, a very public place, but they're like, "Oh, she's gonna be at the supermarket at this time."
And they convinced their mom to go to the
Right.
supermarket. She's like, I don't need to go. And
Yeah,
he's
but they
like,
say
but you
something
know
about,
what?
like,
We
making,
haven't
like,
had,
pancake we haven't
we
had in
haven't
a while,
had
right?
since dad left or something, something like guilt trippy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah,
The
Whip
dad
Up's
didn't
better, but
die. The
like,
dad didn't
no,
die. They
no,
didn't
but
make it that the dad died. He
no,
just like
I think they just
wasn't
got
with them
divorced.
anymore. Yeah.
But they're like, oh, pancakes. She's like, yeah, sure, I can make pancakes with chocolate chips. I don't have that. Well, Mom, when's the last time we had them with chocolate chips? And she's like,
Yeah.
guess we'll go to the store.
Uh-huh. So then that's how they get her to the supermarket at night.
Oh yeah,
Like
it's
it's
like
wild that they got her to go there at night when
I
they're talking
not
about like
not
chocolate chips.
not.
You would
How
think she
about
would like be like, "Oh, we'll go in the morning."
yeah? I'll go first thing tomorrow morning after I drop you kids off at school. Or
Yeah.
like
And then they're like, "No, no." Because they have to go out that night, so they're
yeah,
concerned about their
yeah,
plans
because their
today.
plan it has to be tonight.
Or no, 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 it's like the next day. No, it's the next day, right? Because they get her set up on the date, and then I think the following day is
Yeah,
when she goes on the date, because then that's the night that they have the whatever it's like Friday night or Saturday
yeah.
night when they have that like concert and date that they go they want to go on. But they meet up at the
Yeah.
supermarket, and then they're trying to find the guy that made
Yeah, they
Ad
don't
all
know what he
through
looks
the
like because all
aisles.
they did was
Hmm.
email.
Yeah, and there wasn't any pictures in the
Nope.
newspaper.
Oh no. But I love when they're going
I guess
through.
rightfully so because he's trying to conceal his identity. You
Yeah.
know, being a vampire and all.
And I love when they go and they're searching and you see the vampire hunter there, but you don't know that's the vampire hunter, so you're like, oh, it must be this guy. He's so mysterious and he's like watching us. And
Hmm.
then Dimitri and the mom run into each other and then they hit it off. And then he does ask her on a date and she says yes. And then he comes over to the house and that's when he's like, anything but Italian. I hate Italian. But I never realized any of that until you just said it now.
Yeah.
I was like, ah, it makes sense because of the garlic.
Hmm. Yeah. But yeah. So through a mishap of um, just randomly, like they just like walk down the aisle and their like carts like hit together, and then she just runs into Dimitri, Mr. Vampire
Yeah.
Man, which we don't know yet, but we will soon.
And I feel like
But
that's such a vampire name to have.
Dimitri,
Dimitri.
yeah, yeah. Also, the name that he chose for his like email, like Wolfsbane,
Wolfsbane.
like yeah. What is Wolfsbane? Is that like a term for something? Hold on.
I don't know.
It's a oh wow,
Oh,
it's a poisonous perennial plant.
ooh. That's
So
kind of cool though to have like
yeah,
because he's like killing them, I
uh,
guess.
yeah. The term wolfsbane comes from the plant's use in Europe to poison wolves.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so
This is
like yeah, because like probably like werewolves, like the whole thing about werewolves versus vampires. It's like a they're supposed to have like
oh,
age old like
yeah,
beef.
yeah.
That makes
They
sense.
also have
That's
age old
crazy.
beef. Jeez, everyone's having
Yeah,
beef.
right. Throwback to the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants episode.
Yes,
Costas, Dunas, anybody? Do
that
not talk to Costas.
I and I don't remember saying that until I re-listened to it. I'm like, that's so funny.
Hmm.
I was
You were on
dying.
it with that one.
Whenever I
But
go
then
back and
they,
make these reels, I'm like, we're funny as hell. Like,
uh huh,
we're so funny.
uh huh. I want to see what clips we'll make
Oh
from
yeah.
this episode.
Uh huh.
But they get their mom to go on a date, and the dates goes through. I mean, she goes through like a series of they go to different places, but as they're leaving the supermarket, the youngest son, because they have it's Adam's like the middle child. The oldest sister's Chelsea, and then they have Taylor, who's the youngest son. He's kind of like the youngest one, like the quiet one. In the beginning, he gets like scared by the horror movie that the older brother's watching.
Yeah.
But he's the one that first notices that
Yes.
Dimitri's a vampire because he quite literally sees him turn into a bat and fly away.
And let me tell
which
you,
I'm like, which I'm like, dang, subtlety, guys.
but not only that, and you have to realize it's a 2000s movie, but like the CGI from him
Hmm.
going from Dimitri to the bat is so bad.
Yeah.
And I know, like okay, it's the 2000s. Like they're not gonna have good CGI in the early 2000s, but like that was bad. Watching it again, I'm like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
it was so funny.
I know. I audibly laughed when that part came on.
Yes. I was dying. I
Just like, oh
texted
my.
as soon as that part came up, and I texted you. I'm like, the way he turned into a bat. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, that part, and then it comes up again with, speaking of horrible CGI, with the scene later on when he's kicked him and the mom eventually, after they go to dinner, they go dancing
Oh
and
yeah.
like, rockabilly. Like, she used to be like just for a little background, she used to be like a singer, and she would like sing in like a rockabilly, which I guess is like almost like a Buddy Holly like
Yeah.
crooner. So then, when they're trying to get Dimitri away from the mom, they get him to get kicked out by the bouncer. So then he decides to I'm gonna just climb up the wall.
Oh yeah.
That's where the CGI comes back to play again. I'm like,
Yes.
yep, there it is. So much like the younger brother finding out
Yeah.
through bad CGI, that's how the older sister gets convinced by it too.
Yes.
She literally
He
quite
just walks up the
she
wall like
sees
it's
him walk
nothing.
up the
Yep.
wall. He's like, "How did Dimitri get back in here?" Well, he climbed up the wall.
And also the scene when they're at the restaurant
Uh huh.
and they're convinced that he's a vampire, or the
Uh huh.
younger one is, and so they're like,
Yeah.
okay, there's a test. Like, there's a few tests to know if they're a vampire.
Yeah.
So they go to the restaurant and they're like, he's scared, and we're just proving he's not a vampire.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Dimitri takes over and he's like, oh, I'll do the spoon test. And they're like, the spoon test? And he's like, yeah, vampires can't hold a metal spoon on their nose. And then he does it, and it's like, see, not a vampire. And you're like, that wasn't a real test, but okay.
He was just trying to save his own ass.
Yeah.
And then at that point when they do it, they're like, "Oh, okay, well." The little kid's like, "Oh, all right, I guess." Like,
I
and then
guess.
he
But
just
then
like,
as they're leaving, he
uh
doesn't
huh.
see him through the window.
Right. Adam notices
Yeah.
this. The older sister Chelsea and Taylor kind of walk out, and then he just looking in the mirror and then the reflection, and then he keeps looking back at Dimitri, and then Dimitri, quite literally, again, no subtlety at all, smiles at him with his fangs.
Yes. Because he
There's two
wants him, like, he
giveaways
wants him to
right
know.
there. Because
Yep.
he's basically probably like, haha, gotcha, nothing you can do now.
Yeah.
Like, so then they decide that they have to, we gotta save mom from the
Yeah.
Dimitri. I just love like the way they talk in this movie. It's like, we gotta save mom from the
Yeah.
vampire. And I love when they do, when you hear the title of the movie in the movie is great. I
Yes.
become that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's like pointing at the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "That's because mom's got a date with a vampire." I was like, "Hey, they said
Hey,
it. They
hey,
said
they said it. We gotta see if we
they
can
said
find
the
that
thing.
meme. Yeah.
They said the thing." But yeah. So after they go to dinner, they go dancing, and then by this time is when they all are kind of like, "Okay, yeah, this guy's actually a vampire, and our mom
Mm-hmm.
is actually in danger." So I guess screw our plans.
Yeah. Screw our plans. And then, of course, again, how Taylor decides, like, this is it, but he finds the newspaper,
Uh
and
huh.
then he goes and contacts, what's it?
Malachi Van Helsing.
Yes, Malachi Van
He finds
Helsing.
out about him. He finds out about him. I think through Adam's newspaper, where he's like the same one that he
Yeah,
uses for like
and
the
at school.
project in school.
Yeah.
It's like a like it's half like shock articles and stuff. He's like the weekly secret. That's what it's
Yes.
called. He's like the weekly secret. He's like, well, you can't always believe what you see in the weekly secret, but if this guy was a vampire hunter, he'd do this and blah blah blah. And he
Yeah.
basically just tells Taylor what he is and how
Yeah.
like he would
And
be
I
a vampire
love,
hunter. So then Taylor takes it upon himself to find
but I love how, like, there's a phone number to call this vampire hunter.
him.
Like, huh?
1
And
eight
so he,
hundred 1 800 kill vampires for you.
yes,
Like,
and
probably some kind of number like that.
yeah, yeah, 1-800-kill vampires today.
1 800 I
Yeah.
kill vampires.
Yeah. I'm definitely 1-800, I'm definitely a vampire hunter.
Yeah.
This is not a scam.
This movie. I wonder if this movie caused a lot of kids to like do unsafe.
Yes.
They're just like, I can call the newspaper. I can look in the
Call that
newspaper
number,
and
and
call
then
this.
some random old guy picking up. Like, hello? Malachi Van Helsing. No.
Goodbye.
It's like the SpongeBob when he picks up the phone when Patrick is working. This is the Krusty
Oh my
Krab.
god,
No, this is Patrick. I
back
feel
to
like,
back to
yeah.
Harold. Back to Harold. No,
Yeah, back to Harold.
this is Harold.
This is Harold.
You have a stroke over there. You okay?
I'm Harold.
Oh, God.
That's how I picture he would pick up the phone.
Oh my god, crossover of a lifetime. Harold working the front desk at the Krusty Krab.
Oh my god, it would sound exactly like Patrick working at the front desk. Wow, it's like they're the same actor.
I just think the idea of like him just like like the actual character of
Yes.
Harold like standing at the front
And I
with the
feel
little
like
hat on that SpongeBob wears.
I feel like SpongeBob would have the best time. Like he would
Uh
love
huh.
Harold to death.
Uh huh. God,
And
if only I could draw and I could animate the things that I would make.
oh yeah.
I would
Yeah.
literally make this if I could. Oh man.
It's so good. But so he calls the vampire hunter,
Uh huh.
and of course he's like, call back. Like I'm getting lots of calls,
Uh huh.
and I'm doing lots of things. And then
He gets the call like immediately when he goes back into his car
yeah,
because
and,
the
and
vampire
then
hunter.
yeah,
He goes to like a car dealership to like find out where the car is that Dimitri got from the
yeah,
car dealership.
yeah.
And I love the car. I love the guy at the car dealership putting it together. That this guy's where he's like, "Yeah, that guy paid in cash and he did all this. I knew he was weird." I'm like,
I knew he was weird, and it's like that's why you knew he was weird because he paid in cash.
yeah. And then he was like, "Oh, he was asking about all types of things." It was just another star-studded performance from the guy at the car dealership. And Mom's got a date
Yeah,
with a vampire.
there's always that one character that just has the best conversation, and this guy's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I knew he was weird," and you're like, "Okay,
Justice for extras in these movies because
yes,
they're
yeah."
just
They go
giving
all out. It's so
they're
funny.
giving it all, their all,
Yep.
truly.
Yeah, and then so he obviously when he goes back in his car after not wanting to buy any of the cars at the dealership, despite the
Mhm.
guy trying to get him to buy a car, but he goes in his car and it says one new message, and he listens to it, and of course it's Taylor. Um,
Mhm.
and then so he goes to Taylor's. Oh, and I love the voicemail. I think it was like, and leave your address, and leave your number, and give your full name.
Oh my god! And I got so cringed about it. I knew he was doing it for a complete purpose, but the kid was like, "Hi, my name is Taylor something. I live at 484." I'm like, "Don't tell people you're."
I know, like, and I think that was the whole point. Is like you're supposed to leave all your information so this guy knows where to like find you. But like
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
8 years old and you're giving out your house information to a random guy from a newspaper,
Mhm.
all because he says he's a vampire hunter, in air quotes. I mean, he
Yeah,
was, but like you don't know that.
yeah,
And then
yeah. This
yeah,
again. This movie came out in the 2000s, so I think if this was remade, there would definitely be some things that were done
oh
differently.
yeah, and then he goes to the house where Taylor is having like a babysitter, goes to the
Mhm.
house, and then they go together to find out where this vampire is, where Dimitri
Well,
is
the little kid basically sneaks out because, to the babysitter's knowledge, he's
in bed.
going to
Yeah.
bed and the other guy's leaving. Because then she just looks at the, and she's the most 90s to early 2000s looking babysitter. She just has like the
Yes.
braids and like a
Yep.
neon tank shirt, and she's on the phone like, "No way,
No way.
no way,
No way.
he didn't say that.
No,
He
he did.
said that?
Oh my god.
No way."
No way. And she's like, you should be in bed.
And
And
then
then
she's
she
like,
just goes
"Yeah,
back
go to
on the
bed."
phone. So anyway,
Yeah, and then
no way.
she just looks at the guy. "You're a vampire hunter."
Yeah, like
And
the
he's like,
typical like,
"Yeah."
yeah, sure. And he's like something like that. And she's like, okay. And then she
Like,
goes back on
okay.
the phone.
I have a theory now that she's friends with the girl that works at the fast food
Yes,
store and
that's who she's talking to.
under wraps.
Yes.
She's like telling her tea after a shift, like, "No way,
No
there was a
way.
mummy, no
There's a
way."
mummy. Yeah, and he was mumbling, and he said he wanted a triple double with a large fry. And she's the No way, a mummy eats that?
The crossover that we need.
Crossover, yes.
Oh man.
I just that would be so funny having a good like I mean, they did eventually do crossovers as like
Uh huh.
the time went on, but that'd be so funny.
More so with the TV
Yeah,
shows though.
yeah. And then
But
so Taylor's going on with Malachi and going to all the places, and then they realize, he's going to the house that's on the lake. I don't know which house it is, but they're going to the house on the lake. And then Dimitri is like putting his mom in a trance, so she can't leave.
mhm.
Um, and then Chelsea and the rest of the gang, they all stop him. And
Mhm.
so he goes to bite the mom, but then Chelsea and
Yeah.
Adam and Malachi and Taylor go to stop him. He's like, "You
Yeah.
think you can stop me?" And then he's about to bite Adam.
Mhm.
And then what puts his mom Lynette out of the spell is that like his kid's about to like die.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's typically like when
yeah,
um Adam and Taylor were discussing it before, like, well, what puts them in trance? And it's like, well, the vampire puts a spell on them. And like, well, what gets them out of the trance? And it's like, well, their love for the hero,
yeah.
and blah blah blah. So it's
So
like
it's
the
like,
power of
yeah,
love will break the spell.
yeah,
But I thought it was really
typical.
adorable. But I thought it was really adorable the way they did the twist at the end. It was like the
The
love
kid,
between
yeah,
them, like as a family, was so
yes,
strong that it like broke the spell.
yeah. Instead of being like,
Just like in
oh,
Halloween Town, how the power of magic
yes,
saved them all.
yeah,
It's
because
really
in
cute
the
though.
end, I mean, she does in the end go out with Malachi, and he does ask her out, or
Uh
he
huh.
asks him to go to dinner. They're having breakfast for dinner,
Oh yeah, yeah, breakfast. Yeah.
um,
I
pancakes,
think
and
by the time, because the turn of events, because this goes on throughout the night. So I think by the time they get him in the coffin, it's like the next morning.
yes,
So I think
and
she's
he
just like,
was
you
yeah,
want
and
to
I
go to
love when
breakfast?
he was like, "Oh, but you got to try chocolate chips in your pancakes," and she's like, "Oh, we're already on it." But
This was such a was this a revolutionary concept for 2000?
I guess
Because
so.
like
Did people just eat it
because
plain or
now I
with
just
syrup?
think of,
Like,
I guess so.
I guess
But like
so.
now, chocolate chip pancakes doesn't seem like the way desserts are so extravagant now. Like chocolate chip pancakes don't seem that
That's
out of whack
normal.
to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just normal. So I don't
Uh
know.
huh.
Maybe back then people didn't really have that. I
It was a
guess
wild
not.
concept for the
But
year
I do
2000.
like because even though she does fall for him in the end, I guess like when it says like true love breaks the curse, I
Yeah.
do love that it was
Yeah.
her kids and as a
Mhm.
family instead of just like the guy at the end.
Right. Exactly. Like it wasn't just like Malachi Van Helsing saving her.
Yeah.
It was cute though.
And I love when they get him in the coffin and then he's like shuts it and they staple him shut and they're like, "How do you know he's not gonna get out?" And Malachi turns. They're silver staples. Because like a
Yeah, they're
vampire, you could either
like
kill it with the
silver
silver
bullets.
bullet or with like a stake. So he's like,
Mhm.
"There's silver
Mhm.
staples. He's not going anywhere." You're
Yeah.
like, "Whoa."
I think that's like a thing though,
Yeah.
in like lore of like killing vampires. Like it's either you do a stake through their heart
Yep.
or it's some type of silver bullet. Because I know in the movie Fright Night, like the remake of Fright Night, how they spoilers for Fright Night, I guess, but they shoot the vampire with silver bullets.
Yep.
So I guess that's kind of like an overall vampire lore thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What was
we
your
had some.
favorite out of the four?
It's so hard.
I gotta
I
stick with
guess.
Halloween Town. Like
Okay.
that was just the
Um.
classic. I watch it every year, and that's like my
Yeah.
childhood.
Yeah. It is classic. I mean, I guess because I have the most nostalgia attached to it, and I've watched it the most out of all four of these. I'm gonna say Under Wraps.
Yeah,
It's just classic. It's funny.
it's so
It's
funny. Yeah.
it's it needs to be on Disney Plus. It is a travesty that it's not
Yes.
on Disney Plus. It's not like they can't put it on Disney Plus.
No,
It's
but
very
wasn't there
doable.
some reason why they wouldn't put it on Disney Plus or no?
I don't know. I have no idea because the remake's on Disney Plus.
That's
I'm like,
true.
I don't know.
Maybe it's
But
Don't Look Under the Bed. There's something that got like banned, right?
Maybe. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't look. Yeah, don't look under the bed. Did get banned,
Yeah, that's
or just being like too scary, or there was something like creepy in it. I
yeah.
don't know, but there's nothing that scary or creepy in
No,
under
I
wraps.
don't
So
know,
I don't know. Fix
but
it, Disney. Is all I'm saying.
yeah, because I
Fix
mean,
it.
I had to watch it on YouTube, so like,
Yeah.
uh,
Thank God the YouTube video is like pretty good quality though for the year it came out.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but I had an idea instead of doing Facebook memories for the end since we're discussing Halloween and we're in spoopy time.
Oh yes.
Um, and we always end with some memories because we're nostalgic. We like nostalgia here, clearly. But what what's your favorite Halloween costume that you've ever had?
Ooh.
Or if you can't pick one, like a top three would be good as well.
Well, I don't
I'm thinking
remember.
like of all time,
I
like
don't
of
really
all time that
remember what
you've
I
done.
did as a kid that much,
Okay.
but an older one as I got older, I was Robin from Stranger Things,
Yes.
and it's my
Iconic.
profile picture on Instagram. But I love that one. I love the Scoop Ahoy
Iconic.
outfit. That's probably my favorite.
Iconic.
I was also
Like,
Waluigi
oh
from Super
yes.
Mario. That was a
Yes, you
good one.
were. That was also a good one.
Yes.
Um, I'm actually gonna pull from one from when I was a kid, just because I always find like pictures of it in my camera roll. And I think I always share it to my Instagram story every year. But when I was, I want to say 6 or 7, um, it wasn't exactly like an exact costume of her, but it was like a pop star Britney Spears esque costume,
Yes.
and I had like a little like tube top, and like the top was black like sequins, and the end had like little like bright blue, like that blue that they always use in like the early 2000s, like
Yep.
that bright almost
Oh
neon
yeah.
blue
Uh-huh.
fur, and then the pants were leather pants and they were blue snakes. And then I had
Yes.
boots, and I had one of those like plastic like little like the microphones that go in front of your face that they always
Yes. Yep.
had in like the early 2000s, and I had my hair up in like really high pigtails, and I was basically Britney Spears. The costume didn't exactly say Britney Spears because
But
like
like you would
it's
look
like
at
the
that and
Party
be like, yeah.
City, right, but it was like teen pop star or whatever it's.
Yes.
But yeah, that has to be
Oh,
probably one of my favorites that I've done.
yes.
What about one more recent? I'm trying to think.
I was
Well,
also
last
Pennywise
year
once.
I was me and my fiance were Barbara and Adam from Beetlejuice, and that was pretty fun.
Oh, that was a good costume.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and we
like
had the
that one.
mask,
Yep.
but the masks were so insufferable that we can only put them on for like 5 minutes. I've
Yeah.
never those masks, the rubber. I don't know what something is in You're not supposed to keep those on your face
No.
because there's a fume in there that I can't explain. Like we had them on for 2 minutes just to take pictures. We got our friend to take pictures of us, and I was like, no, I had to take them off. It was so
Yeah.
bad. But we got the like mask for like the scene in Beetlejuice where they try to scare them,
Yep.
so they get like all creepy, like with the thing with the mouth open with the teeth and like the eyes on the hands.
Yeah.
But that was a good time. That was fun. Halloween spooky time is a good time.
Yes. And
And
what's
I can't wait
coming
to
up? My
see what
birthday.
we come up with. Yes, yes. More
Oh,
important. That's the more important holiday because hey, that shows up before Halloween.
yes. I'm
So
turning 30. Ooh.
uh,
And then you're
I'm not
turning
far
30.
behind.
Yeah.
I'm not. She's like, I ain't gonna let you forget.
I'm not letting you forget you're also turning 30. Um,
We're old.
we're old. At least, and then
Oh
I was
man.
talking to one of my doctors because I like to
Mhm.
remind everybody at work that it's my birthday coming up because it's the one year where I don't mind the attention.
Yeah.
Ever any other time, I'm like, you don't
30 is a
need to look at
milestone.
me. You don't. I'm fine. But I
Mhm.
like to remind people, especially because I'm turning 30. And then
Mhm.
the one doctor at work was like, "Yep," and it all goes downhill after this. I was like, "Yep,
Cue the like Curb Your Enthusiasm asm theme
yes,
song. They're like dun, dun, dun,
uh huh,
dun, 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 dun.
yes,
It's like thanks.
thanks." And it's like I know,
Wah, wah.
yep.
Oh man.
I'm
Well,
excited.
we'll have to see. We'll
Yeah.
have to check back in with you soon and see if it does all go downhill from
Yes,
there.
I'll let you know. If it probably will. It's fine.
Oh man. All right. Well, we got our socials linked
Yes.
in our descriptions. We have an Instagram. It's nice. It's pretty.
Yes.
We just
Oh, yes. New
brand
logo.
news from us.
Yes.
Thanks to your talented self. We
Yes.
have a new icon,
New logo. New.
literal profile. We're icons, but we have a new icon.
Aha. Aha.
Aha, knee slap.
I'm not
But
feeling
anyway,
yeah, knee slap. Uh, but yeah, new logo, new
hmm
background on other social medias that have a need for a background. I think it's just YouTube, really.
yeah,
Um,
it's purple. It's pretty.
it's purple.
It's
It
more.
matches us.
It's our vibes. It's our
Yes,
vibes.
it's great.
So check us out. Check out our Instagram. Check out that TikTok.
Yes.
We got good content coming your way. Uh, the our one of our favorite shows just wrapped season 2. Tell Me Lies. So that'll be we'll be
That'll be an
making an
episode
episode
coming.
about
That's
that in the
wild,
future.
and we are definitely talking about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's coming up. We'll probably have some more, depending on how the rest of the month goes out. But we'll probably have some more spoopy content, I would assume.
Yes.
But we'll see. But yeah, check us out. Catch up on episodes. If you this is the first episode you're listening to, excuse me. It's very
Watching.
late,
No.
but
Yeah, that's true.
watching with it when you're watching this with your ears
Yeah. What and listening with your eyes.
and listening with your eyes and talking with your hands.
Yeah.
I do because I'm Italian. But
That's
anyway.
true. Yeah, the little Italian hand.
Chef's kiss. That's what these movies
Chef's
are.
kiss.
Chef kiss. So
Yes.
watch DCOMs. Enjoy Spoopy month. Get those cozy sweaters out and have a
Oh
good
yes.
time. We're in it now. We're in the Burr months now.
The burr. Yes.
The BER months.
The burr months.
Yeah, it's a good time.
It
They don't call
is.
it the greatest time of year for no reason.
I know.
I think it starts now. You don't have
It's
to wait till
yeah, because
December
you
for it
got
to be the greatest
Halloween,
time of year.
Thanksgiving, Christmas. Ah,
I
beautiful.
like to think that the holiday of November is my birthday,
Yes.
personally.
October. Well, I would say December is probably my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to see. Ooh, we'll have some good content coming from you guys this month,
Oh yes.
and in December I'm gonna go in. Oh, it's the greatest time of year, as we said. But anyway,
Yes.
I'm delirious. It's very late at night. Check out our
Yes.
socials, and we will catch you in the next
Yes.
episode.
Bye.
Bye.